Please take your seats. Thank you for being here bright and early in the morning. You are all here because you feel passionate about our organization. We have a long agenda to go today. This is where things matter. This is where we get things moving. Just a couple of things. As usual, we'll be following Robert's rules. The meeting is being recorded. Please state your name and where you are from very clearly so that it can be transcribed appropriately. If you do not say your name, it's very difficult to figure out who's saying what. This meeting, for the first time, is being live telecasted. So all the members who are not I would request if Dr. Irfan Mirza to recite a few verses from Holy Quran, and we'll begin the meeting. Right. Thank you. Dr. Irfan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahus samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad.
Couple of rules. Or if you are raising a point, yourself 1 minute. We have a lot to do. I apologize. This is a long agenda that is in front of you. If we do not follow the time, things are not going to be good for you and everybody else. So I would request you, please, 1 minute, be prompted to stop there. I would request everyone to sign up, to register, the council members. Please identify yourself so that we have exact count. And when there is a vote, please clearly identify holding a proxy. Already has the information, most likely. You have to be a member of your executive council or of respective society to be able to vote on a proxy. And the procedure has to be followed appropriately. I would request
everyone, first council meeting of 2018. I see everyone here very excited to take care of the business of APPNA, and hopefully from here we can keep on going forward. We have changed the format of the agenda. In the past, what happens that we are not able to take care of the important committees reports which need to be discussed. I'm trying to accommodate everyone and let the membership know what every committee does, which is the organization. Having said that, I will ask our president-elect, Dr. Nasir, to give the first report.
Yeah.
And you have control
there's not
on
much
the table
report,
for
but,
rights.
the only thing I will say is that.
Yeah, we had the
when,
pointer, but
The pointer advances them.
You can have a queue on that side, but you have to be behind this line to get live telecasted or live. So just the only thing is that, certification of the chapter, and I'm pleased to say that all chapters have certified, and only Arkansas is the only one which has not done it so far. So that is the only chapter left, and Dr. Zafar Iqbal Hamid has to follow that whether we give extension or not. Second thing is that Southern California has completed all their work, and they needs to be recertified. Excuse me.
They can't hear you.
So I was just saying that, Arkansas is the only chapter on our component societies which is not certified yet. And it depends upon Dr. Zafar Iqbal Hamid to decide whether they want to give extension or not. Second thing is that Southern California chapter has completed all their requirements. To re-enter them. Zafar?
Before we do that motion, before we do that motion, can I request our minutes of the last meeting to be approved prior to, because that's the first order of business today.
Fall council meeting. President to approve the council meeting report. Anyone? Okay. Second, anyone? Any nays?
Ahmed and Jamal seconds it. Dr. Harun, Durrani, presented the
All
motion.
yeas?
The
The
check
council
gets
meeting report
approved.
of 2017 is approved. Thank you.
No discussion. There is
Yeah. As far as the certification process, Arkansas chapter, as per the tradition, we will give them another 4 weeks to complete their paperwork they have done in the past, and we will give them the opportunity to get all the paperwork to the central office, so they can keep their certification intact. Thank you.
On the Southern California, we need
The Southern California chapter, they did not have the paperwork complete last year, but recently, I think a few months ago, they completed all the paperwork and they paid the penalty as well. Jennifer,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, everything
Okay,
is
so I
in.
would ask someone to present a motion to recertify the Southern California chapter as a chapter of APPNA. Dr. Lumna Naeem is Dr. Lubna Naeem has presented a motion to
Second.
recertify the Southern California chapter. Any second?
Mansoor.
Dr. Mansoor,
Alam.
Mansoor Alam. All yeas?
Yes.
Any nays? But the motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there's any question, or we'll be here. So, thank you. Have a nice day.
So, Dr. Mohammed Suhail Khan, I'm here as secretary in front of you. My report is very brief and I don't want to take up too much of your time. सारी चीज जो है वो बन के सामने ये आती है कि we have to work together. Bottom line. If we are not working together, Sajid Chaudhary worked up very hard on it, and he tried to bring people together. There were many things that happened up and down, whatever, but Iqbal has the same vision. Naseem is working very hard. Your executive council is working very hard. We have is full of issues. if I can put it that way. But we have to bring things together. This is the forum where we get things moving. We cannot have 3 or 4 different directions for APPNA. There is only one direction, and that is the council has to determine what direction this organization is going into. And I sincerely believe that every one of you is here because your heart speaks for APPNA. There is no question about it. Politics, no politics, whether you like someone, dislike someone, that's okay, and that's perfect to be that way. But when somebody is saying the right thing, please have the courage to listen to him. We as a council have an open door policy. We want to listen to them. If you do not like what we are doing, please come out openly and say it. Discuss with us. This is the only way governance model can improve. This is the only way we can improve. We can deliver the right thing. Without the voice of dissent, तो martial law है. वो तो हम नहीं करें. यहाँ पे, we are a democratic organization, and we will never suppress a voice of dissent. Please come forward. Take your time as much as you have to say. Be respectful to each other. We have enormous challenges, including the litigation culture that has evolved into APPNA. It has crippled the organization right now. The amount of money that is being spent and the time that is being spent. Most of you have no idea what is going on behind the scenes. The president and the organization is choked to a point where nobody can say anything unless they consult a lawyer or counsel because of X, Y, Z things that are going on. This is not new to APPNA. This has happened in the past, 70s, 90s, again in 2000s, but it has evolved into a process where things have really gotten worse. We have Ethics and Grievance Committee, we have BOT, complaints get registered, there is a process that gets followed. But why is it that things are not getting resolved within our organization? Who is to be blamed? Where? Forget about the blame. Things have to be sorted out among ourselves. People say, I use this method, I did this, that, but end result is organization is getting weaker, and in the eyes of many, the organization is to a point where people don't want to deal with it. Say, okay, fine. With that being said, I'll stop here. Please think about it, and let's do something about it. Director of Operations, Jennifer Wozniak, would you please kindly come up here and give your report? 3 minutes.
Morning, everyone. My report will be brief. As you know, I'm Director of Operations of APPNA. This is my 8th year now with the organization, an organization that I know we all love. We're all working very hard, but as Dr. Khan mentioned, there are a lot of challenges. This year, a lot of the challenges have come to a head, and we're only in April. My hope is that we can work together and kind of push forward for a way to come back to what this organization is really about the raising of funds for different philanthropic projects, both in the U.S. and abroad, at home and your homeland of Pakistan, and as well of helping young physicians get their visas, having our continuing medical education program, and of course, running all of these wonderful meetings that we have, both domestically and internationally. There are a lot of other items that happen within APPNA on a day-to-day basis, things that I won't go into detail. You can imagine what they are. But please know that I am a part of everything that happens here, and I do my very best every day to make sure that this organization runs in a clear and transparent and open manner. We have a great staff back at the central office. A lot of you know them. You see them, they come to the meetings. They all work very hard. And I hope that everyone is either aware or can have some more awareness to that fact, that everyone that is working with APPNA is doing this for you, for your organization, for all the people that we help. So hopefully we can all just have a little bit more awareness and we can get to our main goals here in this organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Let me just add here, we, the executive committee of APPNA, has been working together to streamline further the process that happens in APPNA office.
Yes.
It is, APPNA is getting bigger every day. There are so many projects going on. Every chapter, the central officers, their needs. Myself and the President-elect, Dr. Naseem Shekhani, about it, and we are looking for another position in who could be coordinator for our projects and the committee chairs. They have the full-time job, a family, and their position. In all this, the projects are lost sometimes, and we are not able to follow up. I do not have any further report on the new hiring, but as soon as we have report, hopefully before the summer meeting, and in the summer meeting, we will be able to inform you if we are able to hire a coordinator for the projects of to really commend the work Jennifer and the rest of the office. Our needs are not simple. Our demands are sometimes offbeat, but they hang in there and take care of everyone as much as they can. Thank you very much, Jennifer and the rest of the office. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next speaker was supposed to be APPNA counsel, APPNA lawyer, but because of her scheduling, she will be coming late. As soon as she shows up, she will have the podium to abreast our membership and the council members about all the legal issues in APPNA right now. We can go to the next one. Thank you.
These are parliamentarian council meeting and its decorum.
Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Hello? Yes. Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Mr. President has asked me to act as the it's my pleasure to serve the organization. I will be very brief. In fact, Cable Committee will work on this after this meeting to make the formal document about the conduct for APPNA council meetings. Basically, purpose of the parliamentary procedure is provide order, fairness and decorum. Number two, facilitate the transaction of business and expedite meetings. Number three, ensure majority rule. Number four, protect the rights of the minority, the absentees and individual members who may not be able to make it. Follow the bylaws and rules in our organization. Robert's rule is followed to ensure proper procedure to conduct the meeting. Basic principles which govern all those 5 points I mentioned are the following. According to the Robert's Rule of Order, a quorum must be present on the action items. All members have equal rights, privileges and obligations. Rules must be administered impartially. Full and free discussion of all motions, reports and other items of business right of all the members. The chair may move the discussion for information only items or other subjects, so to speak, for some other time during the meeting when action items are being considered and we are running short of time. Members may make a motion to speak in debate only after they have been recognized by the chair and thus have obtained the floor. Only one question can be considered at a time. Only one person may have the floor at one time. The rules to be followed during the debate are: initial remarks will be limited to the time announced for those discussions. It could be anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. And our secretary has alluded to about 1 minute, but council can decide the exact time. It has the privilege to do so. A member may speak for a second time only after all other members have exercised their right to speak. Remarks during the second round will be limited to lesser time, usually it is less than a minute. Non-members may be recognized to speak at the discretion of the chairperson. So there are many other things, but I think I will stop here. There is one more thing which is really brought up, that is the point of order. Point of order is a term in parliamentary law and procedure which refers to an interjection during a member who does not have the floor to call the attention of the chair to an alleged violation or breach of the assembly or meeting's rule of order. So if somebody wants to really interject and point out or rules are not followed, he can have the point of order and chair can recognize him. It's up to the council whether to decide that point of order is valid or not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mahmood Alam. I would request Dr. Zafar Ahmed to introduce our next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mahmood Alam. I hope you guys are having time during this spring meeting of 2018 in APPNA city of Chicago. Never before in APPNA, and it's not a bragging right I'm talking about, 110 rooms were reserved for Thursday, 320 rooms were reserved for Friday and Saturday. And this does not include all those people who could not get a room in this hotel and they're staying in other places. According to the tradition we started this year, we had 2 alumni, Khabar Medical alumni and Jinnah Sindh Medical alumni, along with local chapter, have participated to host and co-host this meeting. The credit really goes to the chair of the host committee, along with his committee, who has done a marvelous job to take care of every little detail of this meeting. Dear council members and members, it is my really pleasure to introduce Dr. Aftab Khan, the chair of our spring meeting 2018. Dr. Aftab Khan. Dr. Aftab, please come and give your report. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for coming to Chicago. I'm really glad that I have so many friends coming from all over the country to be with us here. And we are happy that you are here. I'm very thankful to my host committee. We have host committee starting from Wisconsin, going all the way to Indiana. More than 100 people have participated. And once again, thank you very much. Please let us know if we can do anything else for you guys. Thank you very much for coming.
I would request all the council members to please sign in the register.
They are, there's one sign, 3 more that have to sign it on the count, but it looks good.
But I need the counselor, I can establish that. We are waiting for everyone to sign in.
Mr. President, I have a request of information.
Okay, Dr. Yaqub Sheikh.
I need to know who is representing South Texas chapter.
As per the directive which was issued few weeks ago to the office. Dr. Najma Ejaz is representing the South Texas chapter right now.
Mr. President, I would say this is constitutionally wrong. We are independent chapter. You cannot intervene in our chapter matter at all. You are doing something unconstitutional, which is wrong for this meeting. You should not have done that. You have to follow the independent chapter rules and regulations, and you cannot intervene in that.
Doctor-
You cannot intervene in Dugana, you cannot intervene in.
Dr. Yaqub Sheikh, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your information. Please take a seat. That discussion will take place today, and we will openly discuss everything when the appropriate time is there. I truly appreciate your concerns. Please, thank
Right now,
you.
I would request you not to have.
I am considering your request, and I will get back to you on this right in this meeting. Thank you so very much. Thank you. The quorum is established right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. Please be noted that the quorum is established. I would like to request Dr. Arif Agha from Cable Committee. Arif Agha is well known. His work is well known with the constitution and bylaws changes. Thank you, Dr. Arif Agha, please.
Yeah, it's over here. I'll bring it there, hold on.
I'll give it.
I gotta go.
How many members are there?
I will get you the number, Dr. Durrani. Please point your question to the president. Thank you.
Alexa? Yeah. I need to be able to see my slides when we move this back. Can you move it back? Is it possible that you can come right here and do it? You can see now? Yes, I can see. Very good. Can everybody see the screen, please? Sure. Let's focus the slides and let's make the projector straight, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to call the AD because it was set on that side, so because now we moved it, so I have to call.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we can leave with that right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good.
A little bit further.
Okay. Also,
That's good.
like, could you come?
There you go. The right and left, and then pointer is on top. Yeah, good.
Thank you. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for this inconvenience. My name is Arif Agha. Welcome to all of you to the great city of Chicago. Mr. President, thank you, members of the Executive Committee and the Council, for giving me this opportunity to present a Cable Committee report, which has been circulated. It should be in your hands. It is color-coded and color-printed for the benefit of knowing what is old, what is new, and what is deleted. So I would like to take a minute to introduce the committee. I'm recent past are also in the leadership role, and I feel it is an honor because working with them was an experience in many ways. I respect them for their understanding of the organization, for their knowledge of the Constitution and bylaws, and for their futuristic vision and perception of APPNA. So, very proud to be part of this team to present it to you. So this year, we were tasked with many queries. There were a lot more than what is shown on the slide. But these were three documents that we had produced as an opinion when we were asked to do so. The first one was an inquiry on the membership, and that will be addressed by certain other committees when the time is right during the council meeting today. Then the second was development of the code of conduct for APPNA members. There was a great need for it. The council, APPNA attorney was involved in this process, for her opinion. So that will also be presented separately. What I'm going to focus is the third request that came to our table from this respected body of council to amend the bylaws, and there were certain issues that were addressed in that request, and I'll go over those things. So let me walk you through the beginning of the year till now, and what are we debating in the next few minutes.
Mr. President, point of order. Can I ask what?
Dr. Riaz Chaudhary, past president of APPNA and current BOT member. Yes, sir.
I would like to know the nature of the request that was requested to the committee and how many members requested.
I will be addressing that in the meeting, if you kindly allow me.
Dr. Riaz Chaudhary, please take a seat. That information is coming in the report. Thank you.
I would like to know the numbers.
Dr. Riaz Chaudhary, please take a seat.
Who actually requested it.
Dr. Riaz Chaudhary, please take a seat. That thing is coming in the report as the report is read.
So
Thank you.
you will have the number.
I will have the number.
Correct, sir.
The names of the people who
Dr.
requested.
Riaz Chaudhary,
That's
please
what
take
I'm
a seat. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary. So this journey began when there was an APPNA strategic planning meeting in Miami on January 27th. The president had asked for a panel discussion to improve the governance of APPNA. So during that discussion, various ideas were brainstormed as to how can we achieve these things. And what we debated was, we looked at the structure of APPNA, that it is mainly comprising the general body, the council, in which I have included the executive committee also, and the board of trustees. So the general body, we looked at, we are very proud of our general body, all members, we are part of the general body, and I take a great pride to be a member of the society. As a general member, as a part of the general body, I feel that we do whatever the organization is doing. We are responsible for the research, education, humanitarian, charitable, and all other projects. We also choose leaders that run our organization. We also amend bylaws. So we are what this organization is, and I take great pride, and I think you all should. Then each segment has certain issues. For example, general body, there are areas that further need to be refined. For example, who can be a member, who cannot be a member, and that debate should take another time, and maybe there is a need to improve there also. Then the council, I look at it as a very broad and very diverse group of dynamic people who bring a lot of enthusiasm, as it is shown today. And they have done starts with a limited experience, but by the end of the year, that has matured also, but this has stood the test of time. So I would not be recommending any changes there. The next one, the Board of Trustees. And whereas I hats are off to the Board of Trustees, I salute them. I describe the Board of Trustees as a body of calm in the times of turmoil. They have made decisions at times when there was a lot of chaos, misunderstandings, and they have given good decisions, and we are very, yet, there are certain problems with their structure. The first one is the number. When the organization in 1970s, late 1970s, it was established, when the membership was only 200, the number of trustees was 5 to represent them. 41 years later, the organization has grown to a membership of exceeding 3,000, 4,000, yet the Board of Trustees number has not changed. It is still limited to 5. What it does is a smaller number gives you a smaller breadth of discussion. For example, for a very important, the chair could have only 2 other trustees to convince to make a huge decision that would impact the organization. We feel that there should be a larger number, a broader wisdom. Then the next is the process. The election of the Board of Trustees as it exists today, it is a very closed system. It's a small body. Council chooses 3 people, but then board selects one of the 3. It is the board's discretion. Board could reject all 3 to find a replacement till one that satisfies their. Let me finish. You will have time. Yes, I will take deference to what I have stated. And if it is not true, I will stand corrected. But this is not a major item. Let me take your point the way it is selected, that you choose one of the 3. The board chooses one of the 3. I take it. Let's not argue about it.
Let's wait for all the questions till the report presented by Dr. Aga.
Yes.
Thank you, members.
Point of order. So
Dr. Rizwan Naeem.
I wanted to emphasize that to keep the meeting decorum, people should address President and ask her before addressing to the General Council.
Thank you. I believe the members have noticed that. Thank you.
So the election process. So in this closed system, there are some obvious things that have happened. We have felt from the members' feedback that it is friends choosing another friend in trustees. We have also noted that in 40 years, not a single woman had a chance to be considered trustworthy to be a trustee. Now, having said it, the same process, same general body, when the election system is open and fair and a level playing field, women have shown their capabilities to become the presidents of APPNA. Saima Zafar, Zilaf Munir, Rana Akbar, Durdana, future leaders are showing strength. So the system is closed to women at present, for example. So these are some of the observations. Then we also looked at the duties and the powers of Board of Trustees. The Constitution and bylaws are very vague. Approve their report. For example, it has to be approved by another body. There are roles defined for their uh, role on asset management and other things, but they do not have a power or a committee to act on it. So we were asked by this respected council to look at these, and this was the document that came to our desk, that we should consider to amend the bylaws, not the constitution, to amend the bylaws to consider an increased number of the trustees, to have a better representation of the general membership in the Board of Trustees, and to clarify their role and duties. So let's look at one by one. So let's look at the number. So currently, there are 5 trustees, and when the council asked us, we were supposed to give the recommendations, and these are the recommendations that we are making for you to vote on. So we are proposing that the board should consist of 11 members instead of 5. We recommend that 8 of them should be elected trustees, and we enhance the board by 3 additional members who are the president, president-elect, and the past president. So that will make it, they are the ex officio members. So why to include the members of the executive committee, like the 3 trustees in the board? What we feel is that it will enhance the number of the trustees by all elected individuals. Number 2, we all are here to make the organization better. We are not here to find turf battles that I am EC and that is trustee. We all work together. So it will create a relationship of synergy rather than adversity. That will be a good thing for APPNA. Now, there are long-range planning decisions and there are asset management. Having the input of the 3 presidents will be of great benefit to make those decisions for the organization. Then the second part, the election process. This is the election. So the executive council submits 3 names to the board for consideration for the election to the board. The word written is the board shall elect, and I have highlighted that it is not really an elect. It is the board will select one of the 3. Proposed elections that we are proposing or recommending, that we have 8 elected trustees and they will come from the 4 regions of the United States, and I will define for you what those regions would look like. Elected by the members of the respective region. Each trustee will be serving for 4 years term, and elections will be held every 2 years. The board of trustees will have a staggering. So there will be some senior trustees who were elected 2 years ago, and then another set of trustees will come as junior trustees, but 2 trustees from each region, rather than have all 8 trustees come with no knowledge. So at each election, there will be 1 trustee elected from 1 region. And I will come back to this slide again when we go over the maps. Then the duties and powers. At present, the board appoints only one committee, and that is the and grievance committee. For its recommendations to have an approval, it will have to wait till a council meeting happens. The board of trustees cannot and bylaws that oversee these two other areas, the long range planning and the asset management, but they really don't have any teeth in it. They cannot.
I'm trying to turn it off.
All right. So this is what the role is at this point. What we are recommending that board appoints committees on those areas in which they have role. So they continue to appoint the ethics and grievance committee. They will also appoint the two other committees on the areas of work that are already defined for them, that is the long range planning as well as the asset management. In addition, we are recommending that since the board is staggered over the course of 4 years, the board should institute a new committee called Compliance and Implementation Committee. The purpose of that committee and that recommendation is that there should be some institutional memory. Whatever this council does this year, there should be a body that can remember what was done this year so it can continue to be implemented next year or the following years. So that will be a big plus. And also, if you note on the top, each committee appointed by the trustees will be appointed for 2 years. So things can be done in a longer range. And this is the power that we are recommending that the trustees should have. That they should not be waiting on those matters, on those 4 committees for the council. They should help APPNA progress on those areas by making an independent decision on the recommendations of the committees that they have appointed. Well, it may give some sense in the minds of some people that, well, board will have too much power, or some powers may be taken away from the council. And I prepared this slide for just a comparison that the board will continue to work only on those areas only, the ethics and grievance, the long range planning, the asset management, and the new compliance issues. But look at the council. The council continues to manage the cash flows, the liquid assets. They make annual budgets, they hold meetings, arrange meetings, manage them the way they want. No change in memberships, elections, research and education, social welfare. So nothing is taken away from the power of the council. It is just those 4 areas that the board of trustees is dealing with. And then on top of that, instead of the ethics and grievance committee, for example, wait for 3 months, the decisions could be rendered by the board immediately within certain stipulated time, as it is mentioned in the amendments that I've given you. Council can reverse those decisions by a 2/3 majority. So there are checks and balances in the system. So it is not one way is a highway. So in the next few minutes, I'll spend this time to show you how we want to bring, or how we are proposing to bring such a change. If these amendments are approved by the council and they are approved by the general body, they will become effective immediately. And the time at that will be to how to have a new board of 8 replace the old board of 5. So in order for this system to be successful, the transition has to be smooth and non-disruptive. And the cable committee will facilitate this process as it happens. This was the slide I had referred to you earlier that will come back, that there will be 8 trustees from 4 regions. Each election will be held every 2 years, and 1 trustee will be chosen at each election from each year. So with that concept, let's look at this region model. This is a map taken from the National Census of Bureau. This is how the country is divided into 4 major regions: the Northeast, South, West, and Midwest. Now, we have modified this map to change it according to our needs. So, as you can see, our population of membership is different in different parts of the country. So, based on that, we have created these 4 regions, similar to but somewhat different. These are the numbers of members at the beginning of this year. A previously designed map on these lines a year or 2 ago had similar proportion, different numbers, but similar proportion of numbers. These are the members from each region, and as you can see, they all hover around at the beginning of the year around 700 each segment. And it could go up to 800, closer to the membership, closer to the annual meeting. So these are the regions which we are recommending that the trustees should be representing. So come January 1st, 2019, when in the existing system, 1 trustee would have retired and a new trustee will replace. That is the old system. We will have 4 new trustees in the beginning of the next year based on the new election. 1 trustee from each region. So what would happen on January 1st, 2019, based on these 4 trustees elected at the end of this year? All the existing trustees will continue to serve for another 2 years. In this way, some of those existing trustees would have served longer than their stipulated time of 5 years. For example, this trustee who is going to be the chair, and this is his 5th year, he will get an extra year to serve 6. This will complete 5 years. This will be lesser. So there is not an immediate disconnect that all the old trustees are going to be removed in the system. We need their guidance. We need to keep them in the system. They should be helping us transfer their knowledge to the new trustees who are elected by the membership. So what would happen then? 2 years later, another election will take place from the regions, and 4 trustees will come in 2020. So all those who are elected, in 2018, they will become the senior members, and these will become the junior members. As you will see in these amendments that I have presented to you, these elections are much different than the election that we are used to. There are eligibility criteria. There are ineligibility criteria also defined. A member who is eligible can present his name, her name, to serve on the board, and nobody. So you could have 5 people expressing their desire to serve on the trustees. They do not have to go and have nominations from 20 different people. What they do is meet their eligibility criteria, and their name will be sent to the regional membership of 700 people to choose from. No campaigning is allowed. It is a CV based, that these are my services, these are my qualifications. Here I present myself with my available time to the organization. Ladies and gentlemen, please vote or don't vote. So no campaign election. And hopefully at a different time than the halla gulla or chaotic elections which absorb all of us with the phone calls. Entirely different election. It should not be a burden, it should be a pleasure to have such elections. So those are the recommendations and the concepts, and the details are in your hands. For this process to be completed, an amendment had to be initiated, and we received that request So the council approval, then it goes to the general body, and let's say hypothetically today that these are approved, then somebody who has the knowledge and understanding of this concept, the Constitution Bylaws Committee will facilitate that process for the first election only. And then the system is predefined how the future elections will be conducted. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Arif Agha, for a wonderful presentation. This is the time for any questions. We will be putting the questions together so that we don't have to answer every question. Dr. Arif Agha, please bundle the questions up and then answer the question. Thank you. Dr. Sajid Chaudhary, immediate past president of APPNA, has the first question. Dr. Sajid Chaudhary.
Point of information. You were going to give us the number of.
Okay, yes. Okay,
Yes.
I will. More than half the council members have sent us their consent to proceed to look and draft these amendments. Specifically, there were 35 council members who wanted the cable to look into this matter and draft a bill to be presented to council. Thank you so very much. Dr. Sajid Chaudhary.
Mine was different. Council member present now, today. How many?
I don't have the.
There's 35
Today.
that have
Today,
signed
35.
the book. Yeah.
35 council members have signed the book. Thank you very much. It is really, I've never seen that kind of numbers before. Thank you so very much, members. Sajid Chaudhary.
Thank you very much, Dr. Iqbal Zabrami. I would really appreciate Dr. Arif Agha that the work he has done in the past. He is expert for the constitutional matters and very good presentation. I congratulate you for that. I will request that 1 minute will be a very short time.
Let's keep going, please.
It's so many things to ask, so many questions, so many content.
There are, Dr. Chaudhary, there are 20 people here. We will try to accommodate everyone.
But I'm saying 1 minute, I will not be able to. There are so many contradictory statements in this, and I have to point out each and every.
Then you can come to the podium when you are ready with your questions written.
No,
Thank you.
It is there, but it will not be finished in 1 minute.
Yes. Okay, let's have 2 minutes for every member. This way we can accommodate everyone. Is that correct? We have 2 minutes for you. Let's go.
45 seconds already lapsed.
We will start it right now.
First of all, Dr. Arif Agha, Mr. President, I'm sorry. Three ex-officio members will be part of the BOT. Traditionally, in any organization, BOT and executive committee, they are two separate bodies. Because if any appeal process that goes to the executive committee From there, it has to go to the BOT. And anybody cannot be in the both processes, just like from the High Court, go to the Supreme Court, it cannot be the same person sitting there. So that's a major flaw in this structure. Number one, for the elections of the BOT, we are all the membership we are fed up with those elections. Every year, APPNA members, they get a lot of calls from the candidates to vote for them. And we are starting another Pandora box. There will be another election. We already have the code of conduct for APPNA election, but we could never implement. We all know that they cannot campaign that way, but still, people, they do get the call, they do get calls from the friends. So that will be another election we are starting, another potential
2 minutes.
litigation.
Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary.
So I have a lot of other questions. There are so many
Well,
on
other
education.
people, okay, we will give you the time when other people. Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary.
Thank you very much.
I'll give him 1 or 5 minutes.
No, I
You
don't
can
want,
use my 1 minute.
I don't want to take.
I will have one comment to make.
Okay, let's keep it nice. Thank you so very much. Dr. Arif Muslim is recognized. Thank you.
Arif Muslim, New York. I'm here to commend the committee and to urge this council to approve these things. The time has come to make these changes. As one of the five people who wrote the original constitution of APPNA, at that time we had basically made the ombudsman, the board of trustees as ombudsman, without any power, without any teeth. They were able to elect themselves. Time has come now to give them some authority, and I think this is a step in the right direction. So I'm here to urge the membership and the council to approve these.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arif Muslim. Dr. Asif Rahman, past president of APPNA and current BOT member, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank Arif Aga. You know that all these changes will not affect me personally. I just want to ask a question which you already mentioned, that to initiate constitutional changes or bylaw changes, there is a criteria. And I don't want to go through that criteria. And Mr. President, I have no reason to believe that what you are saying is incorrect, that you have responses of 35 or 36 people. I think we would like the names. We would like the names of those people, and particularly all the correspondents come to Central APPNA, that how many people said yes. That's basically, because if constitution, bylaws, table which is not followed, which is written already, you as a council cannot go against your existing constitution. And if those recommendations are not followed, any voting will not be accurate. And that's what I just want to, a point of information.
Thank you, Dr. Asif Rahman. The point is noted. Thank you. Dr. Harun Durrani, APPNA lifetime member and the past president of PAN. APPNA PAN.
Well, I must be living on a different planet because these things do not make any sense to me. I think Dr. Aga beautifully sugar-coated a pill, which otherwise would be very difficult to swallow. There is so disconnect between the perception and the reality, I mean, the bipartisanship, I'm taking on Dr. Sohail Khan's offer to come and speak your mind. There is so much bipartisanship here that it has this year reached its epic proportion. And everything is now basically between the groups is a power grabbing. And I think this one is an excellent example of power grabbing. Do we need more board of trustees? Probably, yes, we need more board of trustees. But the question is, instead of making making everything simple, we are creating I thought you just said 2 minutes. Yes, okay. You're making it so complicated that this is going to basically create, and we need less electioneering, not more. And let me tell you, no matter how you do it, we will find our ways to call people for board of trustees voting. And making 4 zones and having general elections, let me tell you, every single time an election will happen, you will have board of trustees from the bigger alumni. And an alumni like mine, Nishta Medical College, will be disenfranchised. And this is against the Constitution. And the other thing is conflict of interest. I mean, if I have a problem with the president of the organization, where do I go? To board of trustees? Guess what? Who's sitting there? President himself. This is the highest form of, and Mr. President agreed with me on the international trip. And he says that he will look into it. And I hope when the vote comes, he will vote against that. Last thing. And, okay, you know what? I think the council should look into it very clearly, and in my view, the council should absolutely reject this.
Thank you, Dr. Hasan Durrani. Please take your seat. Thank you. Dr. Taj Khan, President of Liaquat Medical College Alumni, is recognized.
I agree with increasing the number of the BOT, but I don't agree with adding EC in the same body because conflict of interest. So if EC wants to be involved, it could be non-voting member.
Louder.
They could, if EC want to be involved in BOT, they could be not non-voting members. And again, the current process is elected by APPNA chapters, president. So they already elected president who recommending the BOT. So why we want to create another election? Because every time we have election, there's bickering and fighting. So try not to do another election. Have election by president already elected by local chapter. They can give the name, and you can change instead of selection, you can do election. Who has a more vote, that be put in the BOT. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taj Khan. Thank you very much. Dr. Mahmood Alam is recognized past president of APPNA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
As a member, you can come.
as a life member and past president, I think
Let me answer it, Dr. Alam. Thank you very much. As a member, yes, he can be a part of discussion right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Basically, as my friend Asif Rahman said, that it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect him. Whatever.
Dr. Paracha, excuse me, Dr. Paracha is the last person for the questions. Thank you very much.
So all we are doing is for the betterment of the organization. Let me make, I can testify in front of all the council members today that there is nobody's personal agenda involved. It is all for the betterment of the organization. This is the final compromise presentation in front of you, which is a product of a very hard work for the last 3 years. 2015, 2016, 2017, and now 18. So I would ask one question to all the council members, because I would like to debate on whatever questions has been raised, because our chair, Arif Aga, is very well versed to answer, and he has the capability of answering all those questions. So stay tuned to his answers. But I will tell you that this is the best thing ever will happen in APPNA. It is a product of more than 3 years of deliberations. And as APPNA historians, I can tell you, nothing has been debated more than this issue of creating a balance between the governance and the executive body. We are not a purely academic or medical body. We are ethnic group of people who want to do something good for the Pakistan and Pakistani diaspora in this country. So it is up to you to whether take it or reject it. But I think I will fully support. This is the best possible scenario which can be presented and approved.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Dr. Chaudhary, please address the president. Dr. Imtiaz Arai, chair of the BOT, is recognized.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Council, and excellent turnout. I'm very impressed. Coming to the council meetings, but this is one of the best attended.
Now, looking at the line, I'm going to make Dr. Naeem as the last person to ask questions. Dr. Naeem, thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Arai, sorry. I will add that 10 seconds to your time.
Can you add the time?
Yes,
Please,
10
thank
seconds
you.
is added. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm the current board chair. I'm retiring at the end of this year, so I have no conflict of interest with this whole process. And I must commend Dr. Aga, his committee, and to bringing this forward. As an organization, we need to grow. We need to be more progressive, more inclusive. The process itself is going to take long. Maybe it will mature eventually. I'm concerned about the election process of this whole thing. We all are, and we always try to kind of minimize those kind of chatter in the background, but it is never going to happen. But nonetheless, my concern is that somebody raised earlier that if there is a grievance against existing board member or a council or member or the executive committee, my recommendation would be you can take it whatever way you want because this is the majority, this is the democracy, so we have to follow rules. So maybe when there is a grievance comes in, maybe you can define it in the in the text, saying that it will be that person the grievance against should be recused from that celebration and process. So that will make it easier for other people. So I'm actually does not affect me at all, and I'm retiring at the end of this year, and I have served this organization, and I would appreciate everyone to look at it with open mind. This is not against one or the other. I think this is an organization we all love and cherish, and we've grown out 40 plus years, going strong. Existing structure served well, but I think there needs improvement. Just one more comment about Tariq Arif Aga mentioned earlier about not a single woman on the board. And I will ask the council why. Because we as a board, I've been on the board for 5 years, this is my 5th year, never had a recommendation for a female member that we rejected. So there was it is a responsibility of this council to send a female representative.
2 minutes.
Thank you very much, and that's my last comment.
Thank you, Dr. Arai. Dr. Javed Sulaiman, past president of APPNA, is recognized.
Forward? I'm already done with you.
No.
Well, Assalamu alaikum. I'm the past president, central president in year 2013, and I'll give you 30 seconds of my opinion with the BOT at that time, and then I'll give you my comments. My year was a very productive year. I think we did a lot of good progress over there. We increased our lifetime membership by 750 and whatnot. But anyway, the interference of Board of Trustees was tremendous. I'm just telling you, this group, when it comes, the way it is structured, the way they elect themselves, they automatically think that they are holier than thou. Okay? What they do is their interference in the executive committee matter is just horrible. They come and they just want their ways. They don't realize that membership has elected me. They have not elected them. They have elected themselves, among 2 of them. In every minutes of the meeting of 2013, you will see that they have referred to the executive committee and to the president in a way that when I myself read, I think, what are they doing? I mean, why they are trying to portray the president and the elected executive committee that way?
1 minute.
So coming back to this point is that yes, the structure needs to be changed, the election process needs to be changed, there should be check and balances. BOT is not holier than thou, number 1. Number 2 is that yes, the women should have come. Okay, if the council have not given 3 names, you send those names back to the council and tell them give us another 3 names like it was there before for so many years. The 3-name thing came up just 2 years ago that the final 3 names you have to choose among themselves. Now coming back to this very point, I think it's a historic moment. Really, I'm telling you, as a past president who has taken a step backward now, realizing all these chaotic thing going on, that this is your historic moment, my friend. Come forward, make these changes. It is fine to have executive committee member in the BOT too, because we are a closed organization. We need to share each other's experiences. We don't want them to sit on some Kohinoor and then decide over there what they are trying to do. Please come forward, elect people, do the right thing. These are the right thing to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Javed Sulaiman. Dr. Akhtar Hamidi, past president of Arizona chapter and past president of JSM Moana, is recognized. Dr. Akhtar Hamidi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Dr. Ala, for excellent report. I'm pretty new with the involvement in APPNA, but what I've seen ever since I did, one thing is for sure that we all love this organization. We want to volunteer and do as good as we can. Unfortunately, there has always been a very partisan attitude from one or the other, and it is not based on the ideology. And as in our strategy meeting, we talked about it, that was based on the ethnicity, alumni basis, language we speak, how long we have been in the United States. I think it's time for us to grow beyond that. The Board of Trustees, the way I've done it, they've done a good job. Unfortunately, the way things have gone, they also appear to be very partisan. For example, similar amendments were presented and approved by the council in 2016. And the president last year, Dr. Sajid Chaudhary, did not even entertain it to bring it to the floor for discussion. The minutes were not presented, which is, and he's, to the best of my knowledge, there have been people that who are openly campaigning against these changes even before they knew what the changes were or what the recommendations were. So I think on principle, we all agree that we have grown from a very small organization to almost 4,000 members. Things need to be changed, including the BOT. What I know of is that the BOT has been interfering beyond their authority and powers based on to their liking of the sitting president. And I think that's detrimental and harmful to the organization. So I think it is about time that we should all, as Javed said, this is a historic moment. We should go for the amendments and discuss them as much as we can rather than debating whether it should be changed or not. So with that, I once again thank you, Dr. Hamid.
Thank you, Dr. Hamidi. Thank you very much. Dr. Yaqub here is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Dr. Arif Agha, for your nice presentation. I have a very concern about all this thing because my question is that we wanted to improve the governance. In the current constitution and bylaws, we still have not done the things which we're supposed to do, and we are basically trying to improve governance through this way, which is basically creating another fight on the board level. Most of the time, what I have seen, the board people were elected based on their experience and their time they have given to the APPNA, and council gave those names, and they were picked up on basis of merits. Actually, it is not on the basis of any color or any other division or any woman or men perspective, but whoever was given by the council and picked up based on their merits, that's the process is being followed. The main thing is that right now we need to improve the governance. Current governance is still in question because you have given a council position to a person who is not currently a member of South Texas chapter and active member. And for council member, you have to be an active member of that chapter, and chapter is an independent chapter. So you cannot put that lady as a council member at all. And you need to work within the current constitution and bylaws to have that governance, and later on talk about the further improving the governance. That's what my concern is, that currently improve the governance within constitution and bylaws frame.
Thank you so very much. Dr. Rizwan Naeem is recognized, the past president of New York chapter.
So first, I commend Mr. President and the Executive Committee for bringing this very, very important issue for discussion, and only the presence of membership can tell you that how interested, how valuable they are. Wonderful presentation, Mr. Chair. And I want to say three important things to our council members. Isn't this a fact that we have never selected or elected a woman member of Board of Trustees? Isn't this a fact that no one has 3 board member can elect or select the next board member? Isn't this a fact that Board of Trustees have continuously, again and again, interfered with the day-to-day operations of APPNA in certain presidency and certain presidencies not? These are the facts, and we need to address that. Number 2, I want to say this is for the sake of survival, our own organization survival. Vote with your conscience. Survival is this: we have seen many exotic animals and dinosaurs die away. They're distinct, and the reason they're distinct, they fail to transform biologically. They fail to transform biologically. This is a fact that APPNA membership has decreased for last many years because of the structure we have now. If we don't have a courage to transform, to change, we will be another dinosaurs. Please vote for the conscience.
Thank you, Dr. Rizwan. Dr. Nasser Qureshi, the past president of APPNA, is recognized.
Thank you, Dr. Hamid.
On a very lighter note, this discussion is getting a little excited. To my very, very dear friend Harun Durrani, maybe this is not a sugar-coated pill. Maybe it's an uncoated chloroquine tablet, which a few people are finding very hard to swallow. And sometimes you need to give that uncoated chloroquine tablet to treat the patient who is near it.
Please address the president.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I live on another planet.
I would also like to comment, I think the most balanced comments came from the current president of the BOT. And thank you so much, Dr. Rai. I would also like to correct, having served on the EC for I don't know how many years, I've gotten old with serving on the EC. There have been names of female APPNA members suggested for the BOT which have never been selected. So let's look at some facts, because we want to make sure that we are all aware of the facts. Yes, the executive committee recommends names that they don't know anything about, because the friends calling them and saying, council. The council most of the time recommend names that they don't know nothing about, because someone's called them and said, please recommend them. More often than not, the person, even with that process, who gets the highest number of votes is not selected by the BOT.
Not right.
Please address the president, Dr. Nasir Qureshi, please address the president.
Well, speaking to the council.
I understand. Thank you.
I said more often than not. I did not say always. And we can go back to the voting structure, and we don't need to do that. The fact of the matter remains, and I agree that to your point, there is a lot more that needs to be done. A whole structure was presented. Some members 2 years back had only one option to defeat it, or try to defeat it. They walked away from the council to break the quorum.
Thank you, Dr.
So we have taken it in pieces. Please go with that.
Thank you very much. Dr. Nasir Gondal is recognized.
Nasir Gondal from New York. I agree with the issue that the president should have his role in running the organization. And what I'm hearing is opposite things regarding the Board of Trustees. If the Board of Trustees is already strong enough that it had interfered in the issues of the president authority in certain years in the past, this document is giving the Board of Trustees a lot more power than it has now when it is a deep illness. So we have to be careful what we are saying and why we are saying, because we may be saying the opposite thing. That's number one. So I strongly believe that the president's authority should not be curtailed, and this document does that, especially with its compliance committee. So it may still say that everything is being done by the executive committee, but the Board of Trustees through its compliance committee will be the back.
1 minute.
Will be the backseat driver and will be running a show of force. That's number one point I have. The second is that if the now Board of Trustees elects, in the new document also, it has the authority to initiate the election process. So that is again not very clear. The third thing is that I think women in the board.
Thank you, Dr. Gondal. Thank you
Unless
very much.
do that, it's all.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Dr. Pracha, past president of APPNA and past chair of BOT is recognized. Dr. Pracha.
Assalamu alaikum. Nobody and say that what I'm going to say is in opposition of Arif Aga, because he's a close friend of mine for many, many years. So what I'm going to say is primarily based on what is, I think, logical and good for the organization. You have a bully pulpit, you have the slides, you have a detailed explanation of it. I wish I had another podium here with the same slides to refute or discuss those points with you. There are many assumptions that you made initially before you start your talk, and I think they're wrong. I wouldn't say wrong, but they may not be correct. So the question really is that to make such changes. Now, I was the first president that I came in 2006 that said that the number of board of trustees should be increased. Now, we all will remember that. So the number of board of trustees, I have no question about it. The way you going about selecting it, I think you should give one of the people that are not in favor of this the same amount of time on the other side of the table with the slide presentation, so we can discuss each and every point that you have pointed out, whether in favor of it and not. And I, at the end, will say that I am in favor of making the changes in the setup of the Board of Trustees, regardless. But I think that the way we have gone about, in my opinion, I wouldn't say wrong. So at the end, I would say I'm senior than Arif Muslim. Where is he?
2 minutes. Thank you, Dr. Praja.
Yeah,
Thank you so very much.
Senior member, I said, don't rush into it.
Yeah.
Let's have another.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Praja. Dr. Bushra Dar will be the last person because of the interest of the members. I'm just increasing, and she is the last person to speak today. Dr. Saeed Zadi is recognized. Dr. Saeed.
Okay, so I have two important comments to make. I'll do the first one first, the easy one. One is this constitution and bylaws. I think it should not be discussed.
Please stay quiet so that we can hear the person here on the podium. Thank you.
I have about 20 seconds more now. Yes. So anyway, so first is constitution bylaws committee should be formed, very concrete, and this should not be discussed on yearly basis. It should be, you can hear the concerns, collect it. It should be done every 5 to 6 years plan. That's wrong that every president and the trustees come and they try to change the bylaws. That's number one. And it should be done like other organizations. Second, APPNA is a bigger organization. We should run like an organization. We should hire a CEO, a president, who should be paid, who should be staying there. He should be kicked out only if his performance is bad, and we should all ask him. The board of trustees, it could be 6 or 10. Those should be elected, and this yearly election should be gone. It's become more politics. It's a joke. It's pain for members, and the people who run it, they run it for their own personal reason. There's no reason for APPNA or country or health care. There's nothing about it. Everybody is running. They have their own personal agenda and reason. Yearly election should go. It should be term should be 3 to 5 years. People should be groomed to run and perform their duties. I didn't run, because I don't think I'm ready. I was chief of staff of the hospital. I was in the board for 7 years. I proved myself to do it. So this is totally wrong, unethical, and it's all dirty politics. So we should stop doing yearly election, make it every 3 years, hire a CEO who we should be asked, and he should have continuity of work. That's my suggestion. I said it in Houston years ago, nothing happened. And I know it's nothing is going to happen.
Thank you, Dr. Saeed. Thank you so very much. Dr. Riaz Chaudhary, past president of APPNA and current BOT member, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you so much. And I apologize for the early inconvenience. But Dr. Aga, you are a good friend of mine. We've known each other for the last almost, I think, I was a president in 2001, which is 17, 18 years ago. Now, there were so many inaccuracies in your presentation that I can't even begin. I've counted about 18 of them. So I don't know if you want to go over it or not. But I'm gonna give you one example. When I was the president of APPNA, I actually hated the BOT, just like some of the other, because they were interfering in what we were doing. I did not like it. But here's the point. BOT so far has evolved into an overseer organization, away from politics. And they've done this for the last almost 30 years with I would say, with very good intentions and according to the constitutional bylaws. Now, this year, who is going to be overseer eventually? This year, the president goes to Pakistan and gives $20,000 to a meeting take dollars out of the meeting fund, not yet collected in Pakistan, by the way, at an impulse that made him feel good. Now, it was against all APPNA bylaws and established norms, and he was not authorized to do so. Who is going to question him? No one. No one on this council. I've not heard a single question about it. Next year, Dr. Shekhani goes and he gives $200,000 to his charity in Pakistan. Who's going to question that? Next year, Lubna साहब आती है, ये कहती थी मेरा चचा है उधर पाकिस्तान में, मैंने उसको $500,000 लेके आना है. Who's going to question that? My question is, this is all going on, and somebody has to oversee it. That's the role DOT is playing right now. And if you can increase the numbers, there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things.
Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary.
But my thing is, if this goes on, we will have to continue the fight, and we'll fight it in the.
Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary. Thank you. Take a seat, please. Dr. Mubashir Rana, past president of APPNA, is recognized.
Thank you. So I have three comments to make, but I'll first answer what Dr. Riyaz Chaudhary said.
Dr. Chaudhary, please take your seat. Thank you.
So actually, these bylaws give teeth to the BOT to question the EC. That's number one. Number two, having the EC as part of the BOT it actually helps, because then you can ask, they are right there. You can ask Dr. Hamid, you went to Pakistan, on what authority did you give this money? So that is the reason, rather than having this friction and mistrust, which we are seeing. I mean, there's a question on whether the right number of council members voted or requested for the amendment. There is such mistrust between the EC and BOT right now. That will be eliminated by having EC on the BOT, having 3 ex officio voting members. And moreover, it is wrong, extremely wrong to say that the EC members are never on BOT. I serve on 2 BOTs right now, besides APPNA, and the president of the organization and some of the executive committee are on the BOT. It is normal in non-profit organizations. HDF has it. It is normal to have the executive committee on the BOT, because that is how you develop the dialogue and harmony. Elections, we keep on saying, oh, there's going to be strife. There's already campaigning in the elections right now. So don't get put off or be confused by that. There is already, this is giving more representation. In talking about better representation for the BOT, it's going to be nationwide. There's not going to be just 3 people. Anybody can run. Any good person can run. Right now, it is limited, and it cannot happen. Thirdly, I'll just say
Thank you, Dr. Ram.
that the compliance committee, it is a fallacy to think that they have all the authority. They don't. They will have authority on if only the bylaws are not being followed. That's the only authority.
Thank you, Dr. Rana.
Okay,
thank you very much.
I'm Dr. Naeem from South Central Texas chapter. I have a question for Dr. Agha. How the BOT has a unique position in the organization, and having ex officio members, how can you elaborate? How do you separate their role at large and when doing the governance? So maybe I was naive, I didn't understand it. So they have a unique position. They are not political, supposedly, and then they are, so I will need little elaboration on that. Otherwise, I am at large. This is time to, I think, give representation to wider regions and election by the membership. I am all for that. I'll take your answer.
Thank you, Dr. Naeem. I see most of the council members after that. Would you like to answer now all the questions you have, or you want to write it down? Because we
I
need
can
to.
take it either way. If you allow me, I can
Okay,
answer.
if you guys can just put that, if you guys have the same question which is already presented, please, don't do that. If you have some new question, then we can add to it. Dr. Alam?
Yeah, just as a parliamentarian, I
Thank you, Dr.
think
Alam.
it will be unfair to all other questions which were raised. So giving the privilege of one question addressing right there, let everybody put the limit to the number, and then we will move.
No.
With each and every question needs to be answered by the chair, whichever has been presented.
Thank you, Dr. Alam.
Pardon, I have,
Dr. Chaudhary?
Still the sub-questions are left because I
Well,
could not complete
let's-
all those questions.
We have about 35 people. That's the number coming out.
This is a very important
Let's
issue.
let's finish with these people, and then I will come back. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum,
Dr.
everybody.
Naseem Shafani, our president-elect.
I just heard that Lubna's uncle is millionaire. And the second thing is that on the line, I just decided that I'll give my money to whatever Dr. Chaudhary wants. So we'll do that. Second thing, Dr. Riaz Chaudhary just said that, uska chacha, iska mama. So I'll give my mama's money to him. So basically what I'm saying is that, we need to, we don't need to villainify. Villain banane ki kisi ko zarurat nahi hai. Let's work together and come to a conclusion where everybody is satisfied. You will not get 100% satisfaction, but at least we can come closer to everything which everybody is agreed on and come to a point of consensus and work according to that. And there's no harm in arguing, and you can say, let's argue, but you can always say, let's do effective reasoning. So this is same thing, but it is less invasive. So let's be less invasive and work together and get the things done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shahani. Dr. Rashid Ali, President Khabar is recognized.
Thank you for giving me your time. A couple of things, and it's been raised before. I hear a conflicting argument that the board of trustees is very powerful now, and then we say we are giving it more powers, especially if it goes to an election process. So I need to clarify that. I think the problem appears to be what we are saying but not saying is that the way the board of trustees are being elected is the problem, not that they're too powerful. So there is a little conflict there. We're talking about diversity and representation of women. What about the smaller alumni? So I have concerns about that. I don't have a problem in increasing the numbers, go to 7, 11, 12, 15, whatever. I think we should avoid elections, if at all. Let the general council nominate the board of trustees. Let that be binding on the board of trustees. Don't give them the chance to reject that. This is a representative body, and that may be a better solution, in my view. And also, for knowing what I know about how board of trustees work when elected, the EC members should be non-voting members of the board of trustees, because that raises a big conflict of interest. As we said, the board of trustees actually overseeing or looking at the organization. You cannot have the EC members as voting members. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Mubashir, President, Rawalpindi Medical College is recognized.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have more of a comment than a question. There was a discussion.
Please speak in the mic.
There is a discussion about trust of board of trustees, and I think many of them had been president in the past, and they were elected. And I see all the honorable people right there. Sohail, Zafar, Shefani, Lubna, and Sajid. And maybe many of you may be serving us in the board of trustees. So are you giving me a message that when you will go to board of trustees, so you're going to pull legs on the new executive committee? I mean, we honor you, and when you go to board of trustees, we will honor you as well. So I think they should be trusted, and maybe there's some need for check and balance there. And I think the way the elections are and the way they are
being selected in the past or elected. I mean, I think the way the US elections are,
Past 1 minute.
just like the US president, it's like a union. It's not like the people select. It's all the different states, and there's a way of doing it. So I think all the component societies and alumni should be the one deciding it, and not the executive committee because of the conflict of interest. So that's all that.
Thank you very much. Dr. Bushra Dar, President of Minnesota chapter, is recognized.
I think my main thing is that I agree that we have. The main reason I'm part of APPNA is because APPNA does so much good to our community here, back home in Pakistan, and we feel together like a family. So I really think when I sit in these meetings, I really appreciate that people keep their emotions out and be calm and bring your point, but don't point fingers. Do it just like Dr. Shikani said, effective reasoning and less arguing. Second thing is 5 BOT members to me sound like it's probably not enough. We have grown so much. We have probably 30 plus chapters, 11 alumni. So we should probably have more BOT members, at least maybe 10 even. So then we have a bigger representation. How the board BOT members are elected, maybe their process needs to change a little bit too. If just that's what I'm understanding it, that's the same BOT elect the next board. Maybe it should be a little bit bigger representation and smaller chapters like my chapter is very relatively new.
1 minute.
I think we should all be allowed a little bit bigger representation, and we should all be allowed a little bit more part of the APPNA that we feel we belong to. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dar. Dr. Tayyab Rana is recognized here, President of PMB chapter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Dr. Aga. Sorry. As an American born and raised, an American educated physician and member, and thankfully member of this council, I would defend democracy with my life. And having served on multiple national and international organizations, I absolutely agree that the Board of Trustees should be larger than 5 people. My only request to you as the leadership is that as a new member of this council, I'm a bit overwhelmed with all this information presented to me today. And a lot of people are raising concerns about conflict of interest and so on and so forth. I would just ask that before you take a vote, let some of us understand this a little better so we can make an educated decision. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Rana. Let me tell the council, Dr. Rana is the first American-trained, American-educated president of a APPNA chapter, Dr. Tayyab Rana. Please give us the Dr. Mustafa Qazi was the first one, I got the correction, but he's one of those. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pracha. Sorry, Dr. Qureshi, Dr. Mr. Qureshi is recognized, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. So the point to be made is, we've had 3, I think, NAMA graduates who have become chapter presidents but did not come up to the executive committee. It's time we expand that. There was a very good point made.
Dr. Tariq Aziz is the last person recognized because of all the interest we have from the council members, and then we will have the answer section. Thank you.
The gentleman who spoke about power and process power is absolutely right, sir. It is not about power, it's about processes. This council has to understand it's about processes. And when the processes are not solid, power is used wrongly. So we need to make sure that the processes are fundamentally strong. Dr. Chaudhary, Riaz Chaudhary, my mentor, one of the people responsible for bringing me, I've always said, into APPNA, his concerns are right. BOT should be able to do all of that. Whether it does it every year or not is questionable. In my mind, I may be wrong. And please read. People are making comments without reading the document. The powers of BOT, sir, are not being taken away. They are being enhanced. So I don't understand the objection. The current powers of BOT in this document in front of you are being enhanced. So essentially speaking, Dr. Chaudhary, you're absolutely right, and we should not curtail those powers. And jab Lubna nahi ke millionaire chacha kisi ko paisa dena chahe, you should have a right, the BOT should have a right, and the council should have a right to question and restrict it if it's wrong. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Dr. Zafar Iqbal is recognized. Dr. Zafar Iqbal. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please, no crosstalk. No. Dr. Zafar Iqbal.
Thank you very much for the time. I did not come prepared.
Closer to your mouth.
Yeah, I did not come prepared, but it was a good discussion. I personally think that there are three issues I see: the number of the board, the powers that the board has, and how the board is selected. To me, I definitely agree that the number needs to go up. But now, how I personally don't think that the board should select that the elected council has recommended. I think that power should stay with the executive council. Those have been elected by the general body, or in a way. So the other thing, that's what my thing is. On the power, I personally think in day-to-day working, their power should be restricted, because we want a board to be respected. We don't want them to be involved in day-to-day functioning, but their power, in my mind, should be enhanced on the overseeing of the things. So, and I don't think that there should be so much electioning but that's my personal opinion, but I do agree that the number needs to go up.
Thank you, Dr. Iqbal. Dr. Najib is recognized president of Bristol Medical Alumni. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I concur with some of the comments that were made by Dr. Rana just now. I would first of all like to say that this is too much information for the new executive council who's coming in to absorb in 60 minutes, and there is not enough time to deliberate. So I would request the president to look into it, that we have more time to deliberate on this. There should be, as Dr. Rashid Raja said, there should be a counter argument given for equal time, so we can, as a neutral member, and be a conscious member, that we can vote when we see what the goods and bads are, what is said, what is not said, what was said wrong, so it should be countered. Then the body, the council should be able to vote based on equal representation of facts and everything. So I think we should table this, we should have this document, deliberate on it. I think there may be some, campaigning going on, but I think at the end, we have to vote for our conscience.
Dr. Chaudhary, please.
So we should,
thank you.
And I would also say that the executive body should be a non-voting member. To increase the membership is fine, but I think they should not be the conflict of interest. They should be non-voting members. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Yes, Dr. Our parliamentary.
Point of order.
Yes.
I personally want to use a point of order.
Okay, thank you.
I think it is very healthy discussion going on, and a lot of good questions were brought forward by the council members. The point of order I wanted to bring up is the 2 points very important for all the council members to understand. Because I have to explain.
Dr. Chaudhary,
I have to explain.
Dr. Chaudhary.
I have to point out first thing.
I have the floor.
Dr. Chaudhary, he has the floor right now. Please, I will give you Dr. Chaudhary, let him finish. Dr. Chaudhary.
I have point of order on this.
Okay, so let me finish first.
Finish and then you will have it. Dr. Chaudhary, please. Dr. Chaudhary, let him finish. And then I will give you the opportunity after.
Okay.
Thank you. Go take your seat.
Okay, so
Dr. Chaudhary,
first issue is.
Listen, Dr. Chaudhary,
I will.
After I finish.
One second. Listen. Dr. Alam, may I request both of you? Dr. Chaudhary, take your seat. I will give you the opportunity right after that. Please take your seat.
This is a point of order, he cannot speak.
Dr. Chaudhary, let him finish.
No, but he cannot speak. This is a point of order. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You have to hear me.
Okay. You want to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay. Dr. Chaudhary, okay. What do you say?
I would like to clarify to the council, to the president, thank you very much for giving the chance. Point of order is only and only if there is a constitutional irregularity going on. Otherwise, nobody can speak, stand up. I have a point of order to say something.
Thank you very
If
much.
there is a
Thank you, Dr.
That's
Chaudhary.
why I'm pointing out, it's a constitutional irregularity. He cannot give his opinion on point of order.
Dr. Chaudhary, thank you.
His definition is his own. You can find out. I wanted to clarify one thing to the council. This document which is being discussed and presented, according to the APPNA bylaws, was sent a 1 month ahead of time. We cannot discuss anything which
Dr. Alam,
discussed.
please
So
take
I
a seat.
wanted to just make
Thank
that. You should have read it before
Dr.
coming
Alam,
here.
please take a
Thank
seat.
you.
Thank you very much, my parliamentarian.
Point of order.
Dr. Harun Durrani.
Parliamentarians do that.
Dr. Harun Durrani is recognized. Okay. Point of order, Dr. Harun Durrani.
He's a parliamentarian.
Okay.
Neutral.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harun Durrani. Thank you. That's noted. Dr. Tariq Aziz is recognized right now. Dr. Tariq Aziz.
Assalamu alaikum. I've been involved with APPNA for a long period of time, but recently I got involved in South chapter. I realized these laws made means nothing if it does not make a difference. You make changes in the world, anything, it does not make a difference. You are not going to do anything in this organization, in other organizations. My point, I'm just going to have a comment, 1 minute, that's it. If we are ready to change, we are internally, all of you, BOT, myself, all BOT, South chapter, all the North chapter, whatever chapter you make it, if we are not ready to change, this means nothing. You can take it away, put it in the shelf, and it's not going to change anything. We have to stand in our court and make a difference. Do we want to make a change in this organization for the Pakistani community? We are the elite, educated, and prosperous people, but we are not making a difference in our communities for personal or personal gain is more important. We have to, the difference is this, we all are from here, 87, 97, 70s, 80s, 90s. Now new people, younger people, they don't like it. We want to change. Changes are important and they should make a difference. If we are not making a difference, these changes will take us nowhere.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Tariq Aziz. I will ask Dr. Arif Agha to please answer the questions. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I want to propose a motion as a council member.
Let him answer no, all the questions have gone. So
we have heard the discussion.
No,
I will propose a motion.
I will listen. Let him answer the questions and then we can do whatever. Okay? So
But
just,
why can't I?
no, because there are so many questions by the members and the council members that need to be answered.
But
because
he will have ample time to answer.
Dr.
But as a council member, I want to propose a motion to table this discussion because we need definitely more time. And as a council member, if somebody wants to second.
I second.
So now there's a motion on the table.
Yeah.
So,
Let me. Can I have the parliamentarian answer this situation here? I want to, Dr. Chaudhary, I would really like you to have a seat so I can be more comfortable. Thank you, sir.
Yes, in the interest of the organization and our time which we spent all this morning, I would suggest the worthy member that let him explain. Okay, there are a lot of questions. We cannot deny your motion, but it is not the right time. Let him explain. Let us use this time to educate ourselves about our problems.
Thank you, Dr. Alam. Dr. Chaudhary, please, please, Dr. Chaudhary, this is a council meeting being telecast to 4,000 members of APPNA.
We conduct these meetings according to the Roberts rules. The Roberts rules says if there's a motion on the floor, now you can have a discussion on his motion.
Dr.
You can
Chaudhary,
table
I'm
it.
going that way. Dr. Chaudhary.
But before he answers,
Dr.
there's a
Chaudhary,
motion on the floor now.
please take your seat. Let's just, keep it calm and.
Mr. President,
Listen, Dr. Mayor, you are not recognized. I have point of order. There is a motion on the floor.
Yes.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I know that. Thank you very much. Please have a seat.
So, see, no, I have not come here for any discussion, but when you are violating the laws, even the parliamentarian has said, the motion is on the floor, it has to be entertained.
I understand that. Thank you. Thank you.
Point of order. The
motion is only entertained when the president, the chair recognizes the person. If you did not recognize the person, there is no motion. You can go look at this bylaw.
Right, okay, thank you very much. Dr. Arif Aga will be answering the questions being asked by all the members. Thank you.
Your own parliamentarian has agreed on my motion.
I'm here, I'm presiding this meeting, Dr. Durrani. When I accept it, then I will do that. So let's just get, for the benefit of the members, listen, this is how the organization should work. For the benefit of the members, they should get all the answers. This document was sent to them about a month ago, and we just want to do that. Thank you.
Mr. President, can I take the time now to answer
The question is, you're violating my right as a council. It's basically, my motion is on the floor. It was.
Please, guys.
It was seconded
Observe
by
the decorum of the
2 or 3 members.
Please, thank you. Okay.
So the motion is on the floor. Your parliamentarian agreed on that.
Motion is on the floor. I would like
discussion.
I'm gonna get a vote that how many people want to table it and how many people want to go ahead. There is no discussion. We just want to table it. There is no discussion in that. Listen, we have a lot of business, Dr. Chaudhary. You know that. So we have to keep going. Okay, please, thank you.
My request is for the council members to turn down this motion so we can continue with the dialogue.
Okay, can I have?
That's my request to the council.
Okay,
as a council
Dr.
member.
Durrani, please have a seat.
As a council member, Durrani.
Right.
That's what.
Right. Is there any?
Once motion is on the floor,
yes,
parliament
Dr.
would agree with that. It's who it has to be. There should be discussion on the motion.
Yeah.
Then
the reason is that the motion is so simple. They want to table it. Okay. So there is a vote. I'm gonna get the vote on that, and then we're gonna move forward. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Chaudhary. Okay. Thank you. Dr. Chaudhary, please take a seat. Okay. You have been in this position. Thank you. So please, how many people are council members? Let's have a vote right now. How many people want to table this thing? Okay. Okay. Can we count right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Table means stop it. 1, 2, 3. They want to table this issue, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people. 7. How many people want to proceed with this discussion? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Thank you very much, guys. This motion is defeated. Let's continue the discussion. Dr. Arif Aga will answer the question. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, members of the council. If I may have your attention now, please. Let's.
This is very important discussion, ladies and gentlemen. Please listen to Dr. Arif Aga. Thank you.
So I want to thank every one of you who has come in line. I want to thank every one of you who has come in the line and spoken on the microphone to give their opinion. It was a very spirited discussion. That is democracy. We have our rights, we have our opinions, and it is through these discussions that we look at the positives and negatives of a presentation and the actions that we will take for the future of this organization. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, whether you are opposed to this presentation or in favor of, and for my sake, points raised. And then I have lumped the other questions into the three areas of change that we are going to bring. And there were several good suggestions. So I have some points. So first off, I think Dr. Sajid Chaudhary had made a point that there was not enough time. Art is not time. And I think this question was echoed by two other gentlemen, one from Nishtar and one from, I think, the American graduate, that it is too overwhelming and too much content in it for 60 minutes. The fact is that the Constitution has guidelines so that this thing does not happen. And it is to be noted that this is not the first time that you are looking at it, those who are the regular council members. Constitution provides this facility that whatever document is to be discussed for the change or the amendment to the bylaws be circulated 30 days in advance of the council meeting. This document was circulated about 40 days in advance. So that argument does not befit that there is not enough time. Number two, if there were any objections to this matter, those 30 days are also the time to bring up those in the preliminary discussions. The Constitution Bylaws Committee could have addressed those things, and to have coming up to Raja Saab's point that to have it as a debate of the two sides, there are no two sides. The Constitution provides a process, and that is what we are following. We had a panel discussion in the strategic planning meeting, and that would have been a forum if there is a second party strongly opposed to this process. They could have asked for a panel discussion against this process. At this point, as we stand today, we have gone through all those constitutional requirements, and there was ample time provided to discuss and review and object. And here, this is the final time that you, as members of the council, come in person and discuss it in front of each other. So those are the two answers to Sajid Chaudhary and Raja Saab. Then there was a comment also by Dr. Asif Rahman that it's a constitutional thing, and we have not looked at the Constitution, and nothing should be done that is not in the Constitution. I must clarify that this is not a constitutional amendment. There is a difference between the two. It is an amendment to the bylaws. They are two different points. So keep that in mind, please. I hope that answers that. Then Dr. Nasir Gondal had raised a point that powers are too much or too little, and so on. So there's better need. And then he also raised a point which I must confess that we have not looked at whether 8 members is a limit by the state. But if he has investigated that it is 8 members, so the board is 8 members elected. The others are all ex officio. Dr. Rashid Hanif had made a point as to what we are actually doing. I want to summarize the council's request that came to the table, and that was on 3 elements. And that was to increase the number, to have a better representation, and to have the clarity of powers and responsibilities and duties. So there were a lot of other questions that were given back and forth, and some were answered by the members following the previous ones. But let me focus now on the 2 main issues, one of which, I'm sorry, the gentleman, honorable gentleman, had made about to define what we are trying to do. Could you state your question again, please? You had asked me a question.
So the powers of the BOT and the ex officio member, clarification on that.
Powers?
BOT and
Yes. So this is the slide I would like you to look at for your answers. So the powers of BOT, if you want to look at it conceptually, for the sake of argument, or for a lack of better term, these processes are snail-paced processes, slow processes, long-term processes, and grievance processes. Board has these roles already. The third request of the cable that we need to define it, this document just defines that how to do that which was not previously defined. So the board is not getting any new power per se. This committee has been added for just the memory of the organization to bring it up that what was approved or not approved before. But balance of power, this is a comparative slide. On this side, nothing has been taken away from the existing powers of the council. Cash flows, budget, meetings, you name it. You read the Constitution, you will not find that anything has been taken away. But in order to put this thing in a better system, the way we were asked how to improve the governance, we have recommended that on those 4 matters, like these 4 matters, the 4 committees that the board appoints, only the board decides those matters in a timely fashion. And then, let's say hypothetically that there is a bad situation in which the majority feels the other way. Council majority feels that the board of 11 people has done something seriously wrong. This should not have happened. This is not good. They can overturn the BOT decision. So checks and balances there. Next question was on the, so that was on the powers. There are 2 other questions that I will lump from many members. One is EC as a part of the BOT. And then I'll come back finally to the election process. And that will end all the questions. So the argument has been made whether EC can be part of BOT. That's the question. Dr. Sajid Chaudhary has pointed that this is not the case. Dr. Mubashir Rana referred to some organizations that he is part of, and we know that it is not the case. As a matter of fact, if you read various nonprofit organizations, you can do Google search now, you will find hundreds of articles. These nomenclatures and divisions of powers, many organizations, nonprofit organizations, they are driven by boards who generally appoint an executive committee to run the execution. So it is not uncommon to have the executive committee as part and parcel of the board. Number 2, the environment, so to speak, that we may be confronted with, in which there is a complaint against the president, for example, and he is part of the BOT, right? This is at the bottom of this discussion. Well, we have a clause in the Constitution that we will follow Robert's rules. Robert's rules also require a member who is part of the investigation or alleged accusation that he be recused of that. So for that rare instance in which I hope that the organization does not bring 365 accusations against the president, that this is every single day of the year happening, and I hope it never happens. But the day when it happens, the president can be recused, yet his expertise, his representation, his knowledge, his active role in the administration should be fully utilized in making those decisions. So this is the recommendation. It's not that I'm saying that this is taken. You guys have to decide it by a vote. And finally, the election process. Yes, we are fed up with elections. Yes, we have a system. And yes, we have criticism and a bad feeling how it happens. It is for that reason that we are making these recommendations at the request of the council for the council. This is one method. And what it brings to you is a method which is a quiet method that you are used to having elections in your professional societies, name it Urology Association, Cardiology Association, the hospitals. You get votes from how many times you have campaigned in those elections to cast a vote. This Board of Trustees election is designed to run on those lines. So it should be a quiet election. The member desirous of serving should not have to run after 15 members to get a nomination. A member who has put his name on the ballot should be given equal chance. There could be 20 people running for one region. Yet that member, if he violates the law, a definite evidence is given that he campaigned, he should be removed because there are plenty of other people to serve. So we want to make it a very simple election. So then the question comes, why not a woman? In 41 years. Well, no woman was sent by the council. I know for a fact that no woman has been elected as the trustee, but I cannot say with certainty that in 41 years out of the 3, that will make about 120 candidates, 123 candidates. I don't know how many would have been the women who may not have had the chance. But reality is that when you look at the 2 branches, when the elections are open, women have become presidents. When the system as it is in the trustees, no woman has been able to come to this position. There was another argument that should some women be given a quota system to have one trustee. Personally, the Constitution and Bylaws Committee, we discussed it. We do not feel that women should be beggars. We feel that the women are capable, are even more capable of holding those positions when they are given even playing field. And I have no doubt in my mind that not this year, perhaps in the next few years, there will be more women serving on the board. So with that said, I think I have answered most of your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Arif Agha. Thank you so very much. Dr. Naeem is recognized, please. Thank you.
I move to have this amendment approved as presented.
In second, Dr. Rizwan Naeem is seconding it. The motion is on the floor. Any discussion? Dr. Najib? Dr. Najib, you are recognized.
I just like to, Dr. Mahmood Alam has said, I am holding that email.
There is a motion on the floor, so just let's discuss the motion, please. Thank you.
No, what I was told that the email was sent and this document was shared with us. I have that email. Nowhere it only says that this proposal is coming. It was never said that it was deliberated or we can raise our objection. Okay. So I'm just saying that we should have enough time to deliberate on it.
Thank you, Dr. Najib. We have been discussing this for almost 2 hours now. Thank you very much. Dr. Rizwan Naeem.
So as I seconded this motion, and this is a challenge to our council members, this is the time this committee, Dr. Arif Agha and his committee has worked tirelessly for many years to bring this transformation through collaboration. This is a time to check your guts and say that yes, you're ready to improve APPNA's business and increase the membership of APPNA business as these are facts which are presented by this council member. So I would say just vote yes or no. There is no other objection to it. Yes, as presented, and there should be no amendment to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Naeem. Dr. Harun Durrani is recognized.
I agree with Dr. Rizwan Naeem that we need to check facts and everything needs to tally. I mean, we are rushing to a vote. We are rushing.
Please, no cross-talking. Dr. Harun Durrani has the podium right now.
We are rushing to vote a very very major amendment which will have long-term consequences. And just because, Mr. President, you have the vote, I think this is unfair. We have not been given equal time. Our questions have not been answered. And somebody came and presented a motion, and now we are stuck with this.
Thank you, Dr. Harundrani.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Please. I raised several questions. You did not answer any of my questions. And one of the honorable member very fiercely complained that the Board of Trustees had interrupted his or their executive committee task. But then we are saying we are trustees. So who's right? And now we have a major, Dr. Nasir Godin suggested that we cannot have more than 8 members. And you are suggesting 11 members. So how do you reconcile that? Without confirming you are going to approve a motion and then come back and then amend it? I mean, this is, and how are you going to, you didn't tell us how you are going to safeguard the rights of the smaller alumni.
Thank you very much. Dr. Naseem Shakhani, our president-elect.
I just want to say that there is no limitation in Illinois.
What that?
For the
board members?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Dr. Salman Malik is recognized. President of APPNA New England Chapter.
Thank you. Generally, I'm in favor of the recommendations and concerns only because I've been hearing both sides, and there are 2 sides. I deny that. I think it would behoove us to at least maybe give some time to this, not necessarily take an up and down vote today. We did get this email, with the bylaws, the amendments 30 or 40 days ago. But as one of the council members, I think many in a vacuum. I don't know the politics behind APPNA as well as you do, being a graduate of the U.S., so I don't really have an allegiance one way or the other, or at least I try not to, even with my friends. So I think it would be good. Overall, this is an amazing document. Like I said, I think many of us would probably approve this, but there are changes. Respectfully change, maybe take those considerations as others have pointed out, and just maybe give it more time. Or maybe have one more session where it's exclusively this. And I may be out of order with this, but this is something to think about.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malik. Dr. Sadiq Chaudhary is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I mentioned initially, I could not even ask all my questions. There's no time. It's a very important issue of the constitutional amendments. And these are bylaws amendment. Bylaws amendment, I'm sorry. Bylaws amendment still, because it will have a long-term impact on our organization, especially that we are creating new election zones, 4 different areas. There's no way to control the campaign. There's no way to get it out of control, or not to let it control by only the major alumni, and the smaller alumni has no safeguards, no safeguard in this document. I will request to the council, please look into it above the bipartisan. Look, whatever the important good changes in there, that should be kept in. For example, the number of BOTs, I agree with it. I think that's the need of the day. That should be. But the other complicated procedure, that should be taken out, and we should go for the bylaws with consensus, not with just with the majority. And somebody says, okay, we just want to go ahead with it. Please be patient, get everybody on board, and then do it with consensus.
Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary. Dr. Bia Ahmed Hassan, President of APPNA, is recognized.
So first of all, sir, I would like to record that I seconded this motion. I was not acknowledged, so I just want to...
I'm sorry, Dr. Bia Hassan, that will be on the record. Thank you.
Okay. Now, I want to remind everybody that we are a democratic organization, and we should be in the habit of conducting business democratically. And in democracy, there is discussion, but ultimately, the opinion of the majority prevails, and the people who did not prevail should also follow the essence of democracy and respect that. So right now there is a situation. Right now we have a situation where there is a motion on the floor to approve these amendments. Now this motion was presented by one of the council members. So I don't think the president even has the authority to say that, oh, let's, I think the council will vote on this issue. If majority of the council members think that there is more time needed, we are all gentlemen and, ladies. So we are not people who will just say, oh, we are chamchas of this group or that. We will use our consciousness, our conscience, and we will vote. If the majority feels that more discussion is needed, then the motion will be defeated. But at the same time, if people choose in favor, then people who are speaking against this should, in the spirit of democracy, respect that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hassan. It's time. Yes, Dr. Rao Kamran is recognized.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I didn't want to come earlier, but I think I would like to give my input. I'm a worker, and actually even I'm here in a council as an accident because our president of Ohio.
Right now, you are not a council member, correct? Because
I'm a council member. I'm a council member because I'm a president of Ohio.
Okay, sorry, please, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm sorry.
So, and I'm saying it's accident.
Thank you.
So, I think this division is not good. Basically, I'm a worker. And even I'm this president because my president is moving, so they made me. I prefer to be a worker and I'm a worker. But these divisions have created so many problems in all those works. And it will create more problems. Right now, one of this section which comes Texas, there is a problem going on. Then there is a lawsuit on the East Coast, which is in New York. And then even in Chicago, there's some problems. We know those. And now, whatever is left, you're going to create problems in those areas. Doesn't matter you campaign or not. There will be friction, there will be problems. So you should add more members, but I don't think this is the right thing to create more problems in our organization because it gets really hard. I get some problem from some friends because I am working with Zafar. And I will have, again, some problem if I work next year with other presidents because of those frictions. So I think if we want to work for the organization, we have to decrease this friction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Sohail Khan, our secretary, is recognized.
Thank you very much. Little background. I've been alumni president, I've been local chapter president, treasurer, secretary. I've been through these meetings for years and years and years. And I have seen this council approving things and not getting done. Simple examples. Chilmi, president, we brought in, went through the whole process, went to long range planning committee. Council approved $620,000 for allied health school and expanded housing. Never happened. Last year, spring meeting, 50% of the assets are to be moved to another company.
Can you please, there is a motion on the floor, Dr.
Did not happen.
Dr. Khan, please just talk on the motion.
This
recognized.
This is directly related to the governance. And that is why I'm bringing this up to you, because governance has to improve. And without improvement in the governance, this is not going to happen.
Thank you very much. It's recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to take the vote on this. We have enough discussion. We have given more than 2 hours on these things. So it is time to take the vote. There is a motion on the floor. Dr. Rashid Hanif is Dr. Mustaq Sheikh is the last person. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rashid Hanif.
I appreciate everybody's trying to do what is best for the organization. We all differ and we may not like each other, but it's fine, and keep the organization work. I would recommend this amendment is good. It's very important. It may become acceptable to a lot of people with some changes. So consider that. There are some changes that may be done and it may become acceptable to a lot more people.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mustaq Sheikh, please. Last person.
The proposal which was coming from the floor, was it to accept everything that follows with the line crossed out, blue?
There are 2 parts. One, at this point, the motion on the floor is to approve the amendments, and then we will have to accept the whole report separately.
So those are the only 2 pages that we are talking about for right now?
No. We are talking about the main document amendments. All of them.
All that we have in our hand.
There are 2 parts. Yes.
Okay. That's what my question is. Then couple of comments, because whereas I like most of the things which are discussed in here and need to be changed. The term limit, the term is 5 years currently, and you are making it 4 years, and then they can run one more term afterwards, not consecutive. So why to go extend it that much? That is one. Second, the elections will be on 4 different regions. You have had problems with the elections, even just one election. There will be 4 different areas and regions. What would be the cost of all this? Because that has been a major concern, and so those are the things that are on my mind.
Thank you, Dr. Mustaq Sheikh. The motion is on the floor. I will take the vote right now. All in favor of the motion? Yes. Mr. Secretary, can you please count the votes?
1, 2, 3.
Only the council members, please.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yes.
Let me go down.
Okay. Can you just get the names and just make sure that
Okay.
Just say Really, listen, Sohail. No, not like this. Not like this. Okay, let me just do it. Dr. Naeem Khan, Dr. Shakib, Dr. Sohail Siddiqui, Dr. Rizwan Naeem, I cannot see. Dr. Tahsin Rab, Dr. Saeed Zadi, Dr. Kamran Rao, Dr. Dawood Nasir. Let me just come up here. Because I'm sorry, I cannot see it. Dr. Nadeem, Dr. Ali Ahmed, Dr. Amir, Dr. Amir Jamal, Dr. Shaukat, Dr. Mia Ahmed Hassan, Dr. Mansoor Alam, Dr. Aftab Ahmed, Dr. Bushra Dar, Dr. Shahzad Saeed, Dr. Tariq Aziz, Dr. Rahat Sheikh, Dr. Najma Ejaz, Dr. Shahnaz Akhtar.
Anybody missing?
In the EC, can I have the vote, please? Dr. Sohail Khan, Dr. Lubna Naeem, Dr. Naseem Shakhani, and Dr. Iqbal Zafar Hamid. Dr. Mustaq Sheikh. Okay, I'm not going to vote. Sorry, take it back. Thank you. Dr. Mustaq Sheikh is added. Anyone else? How many votes are there?
Total of 35 and probably down to 45.
Proxy of Florida.
23.
20. And Dr. Humara Kamar?
24.
Anyone? Any nays? 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Dr. Harun Durrani, Dr. Arshad, Dr. Najib, which Dr. Taj Khan, Dr. Sajid Chaudhry, Dr. Shahzad Iqbal, Dr. Mubashir, Dr. Fiza Rafiq, Dr. Zahid Rafiq. So there are 23 yay votes and there are 24 yay votes, one abstaining, Dr. Salman Malik, and there are 9 nay votes. The motion is passed. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please observe the decorum. Thank you. You don't have to clap, please observe the decorum. We are just going to finish this thing because we have very important things coming up. and truly it will affect the organization, what we are going to discuss, with open mind and open heart, and bring everyone together. Dr. Arif Agha, you have to add something. Thank you.
Yes, I think that was the amendment approved.
Some very important committee reports, and hang in there, because there is one more issue coming which I believe will need the help of every council member to make everyone come together. Dr. Mubashir Rana will talk about the mobile health clinic. Actually, the APPNA Medical Corp, if Dr. Rana is here, I would like him to present in a few minutes. Thank you.
I'll give it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Council members, please take your seat. Dr. Rana. Dr. Rana. Dr. Mubashir Rana, please. Can I request the council members to please take your seat. There are very important issues, and please, for the benefit of every council member, let's listen to the presenters, please. Thank you. Dr. Rana.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. First, want to thank Mr. President for giving us the opportunity. This is I'm presenting for the APPNA Medical Course Committee. This is a picture. I also presented it yesterday, so if you've heard it, it may be a lot of repetition, so I apologize for that. But this is a picture of one of our APPNA Medical Course volunteers, Dr. Ansar Khan, and when we went to Gujarat for the cleft lip and oculoplastic surgeries.
Can I request the council members to please refrain from talking? Please. Thank you.
And this is one of the girls that we did operate on. I did not want to get pictures post-op because it was too early, but inshallah in the future we'll get her pictures and see how she's improved. So, oh, sorry. I don't.
Yeah, you have to closer to.
Maybe you hold it. So keep going on this. So the mission is deployment of APPNA Medical Code is deployment of health professionals during peacetime and disaster to conduct medical missions globally. This is kind of a flagship project for this year. This is one of the vans, the mobile vans that we purchased. We purchased 2 vans, and as you can see, equipped with medications, with EKG machine, and such. The concept here is to provide free healthcare to the remote areas of Pakistan. Adequate healthcare in these places is practically non-existent. This first project was launched in Mirpur Khas, Sindh on February 22nd, 2018. And our ground partner in Pakistan is Muhammad Medical College, which is very amicably led by the dynamic Dr. Sayyid Razi Muhammad. I will also show you his picture, but very impressive gentleman, and runs this college and actually has exceeded our expectations on how they're providing medical care to these very deserving, underserved population. And then I talked about this. So this is, if I can go back. So it's a little hard to see, but I think this is Dr. Sayyid Razi Muhammad. He basically has founded this free of charge. So you can imagine doing a great service, and he set up a very good system of serving the population. This is in Mirpur Khas, Sindh, and this is where our project is going on right now.
So we have identified several villages around Mirpur Khasin, which in people there in these villages have not seen a doctor for many years. So we are going to them rather than them coming to the hospital or to the clinics because they cannot even afford that. They're so remote. Their biggest problem is clean water. Can you imagine? So medical care is like, a big luxury for them. So they, just opening this on February 22nd, being there, just the gratitude on their faces was enough for us to see what effect it is making in their lives. So this is how these medical vans, when we go there, this is how they're providing care, and so just a few pictures. So in the last 2 months, this was started February 22nd, we made 74 visits and seen 443 patients already. And we provided free medicines, emergency care to this population. I was talking to Dr. Atia Khan actually yesterday when she heard this presentation, and I think one of the things that we will start doing more is like prenatal care, and also teaching them about clean water, how to purify water, those kinds of preventive care that we will also start doing now, like what HDF does, and they want to actually partner with us, so that will be huge, I think. So I just want to recognize all our co-partners in this. So we're collaborating with APPS UK, who helped us a lot because they already are operating such mobile clinics near Islamabad. And again, somebody else came to me who wants to donate a couple of vans in Islamabad. So we will get their help, APPS UK help, because they're already operating there, and they can help us. So the main thing is to have a good ground partner. Like we are very lucky that we have Muhammad Medical College in Mirpur Khas. But if we have good ground partners who can operate with us, we'll be more than happy to establish these in other areas. Actually, the goal is to establish all over Pakistan. Each van costs about $11,000. And if anybody wants to sponsor and start this and wants to designate an area on behalf of their family, their loved ones, we'll be more than happy to do that. APPNA summer meeting as was discussed, and then we are hoping also from the spring meeting, and JCM UANA have already committed to donate 2 more ambulances, actually 2 each. So there'll be, we're hoping another 8 or 10 ambulances already committed for this year. But we are much more aggressive, as the president's vision is that we should have at least 20, 30 vans going all over Pakistan in this year. Then I also did want to talk about the mobile clinic program in USA, which was started last year. Dr. Babar Rao is...
Can I just stop you here for a second? Because there's some good news coming from the members. Just now, the class of 80. Can you hear me? No. Class of 84 of Sid Medical College, Janassid Medical University has just donated 1 mobile health clinic. Yeah. And I will recognize the president of Liaquat Medical Alumni, who told me that Liaquat Medical Alumni is going to donate 1 mobile health clinic. I will also inform you, we had an international meeting to Singapore, Kuala Lumpur and Bali, and the international committee has donated 2 mobile health clinics for this purpose. So we are already in 7 and 8 of them, and you're going to see, inshallah ta'ala, many more by the end of the year and the years to come. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. I do see maybe you can think about donating also, Dr. Kamar. So anyway, So these are the mobile health clinics in United States, and they've already started operations. And we are partnership with APPNA on these, and they're again used for providing health services by our members in different areas. Just want you to know that that is already happening. Our next project is Cleft Hospital, Gujarat. So this is the hospital, just a rendering of the hospital, but this is how it really looks. And basically we were there, we took a mission again in February, palate surgeries. Our mission was, we partnered with the Society of Anesthesiologists of APPNA, which is SAPNA, and the mission it was from February 18 to 23rd, 2018. Was really a very, I myself was very humbled by all the things that are going on in Gujarat. You could never think how well these people are providing care and how much of charity work goes on. So that was really eye-opening for me at least. The participating physicians were Dr. Dr. Farooq Shahzad, maxillofacial plastic surgeon, Dr. Hassan Shah, pediatric oculoplastic surgeon, Dr. Daud Nasir, anesthesiologist, Dr. Bakar Sayed, pediatric anesthesiologist, Dr. Ansar Shah, anesthesiologist, and Dr. Kaleem Sayed, healthcare quality management expert. So anyway, these are so 16 cleft lip, palate, and pediatric ophthalmic reconstructive surgeries were performed. Over 100 patients seen in outpatient clinics, educational conferences, and ultrasound guided nerve block workshops were done. These were arranged by SAPNA, and we did it at Qaid-e-Azam Medical University, Aziz Brati Shaheed Hospital, Gujranwala Civil Hospital, Services Hospital, KE, all these places. Tremendous response. I think they were very productive. These are some of the pictures. Dr. Daud Nasir, these are the other members of the group who were there. This is Dr. Daud Nasir doing the ultrasound guided nerve block workshops. Dr. Kaleem Sayed, who is here, was a great hit. He's our quality management expert and was really very much so welcomed by the hospitals. He talked about like infection control, transportation, patient risk, all those things, medication risks and such, which is so much needed. I'll just go very quickly, but APPNA Rohingya relief is going on. We're doing 1 to 2 week medical missions there, and we need you. We need you to volunteer. We are partnering with OBAT. They've established a very good clinic in Cox's Bazar. This is their clinic. Many members who are here have volunteered already. I will show you the pictures, but most need is for family medicine, internists, pediatricians, emergency medicine, and OBGYN. You can also bring your children who are over 13 years of age if you want them to help, which is very important. It will be a great experience for them, and it also will help them in their future. So this was the first group that went to Rohingya. And as you can see, a lot of people here, Dr. Bushra Dar, and we really appreciate her class donating, Dr. Humera Kamar, there's so many other people who are there. Then this is Dr. Javed Akhtar who went there. Then Dr. Shahid Yusuf, Dr. Zia Moiz. A lot of people. So this, let's see. Okay, so I'll just name because I think we do need to recognize these people who have been there. It is very, very important because they take their time. So this may be the last thing I do. But yeah, let's recognize Dr. Shaheen Mia, Dr. Humaira Kamar, Dr. Tanveer Chaudhary, Dr. Alia Ali, Dr. Mir Sujat Ali, Dr. Usman, Fazana Naqvi, Dr. Bushra Dar, Dr. Hilal Ikramuddin, Dr. Shahid Yusuf, Dr. Javed Akhtar, Dr. Zia Muiz, Dr. Mahmood Rashid, Dr. Uzma Naseem, and we have 2 or 3 other doctors now who will be going, inshallah. So, lot of good work. And just very quickly, the last project that we have is our APPNA Medical Corps mission to Copan, Guatemala. And this was conducted February 18 to 23. This is the partnering with Rotary Club. And these are the doctors who went there, Dr. Minal Hassan, Dr. Razia Sheikh, Dr. Hasnan, and these are the children. There are like 450 children that we provide care to. So I will stop here. Thank you very much, and please volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rana. Yes,
Just mention it to Dr. Hamid and you can go see if he'll put you in next.
Yeah, only one.
Yeah, the question is that you had ambulance. Okay, वो ambulance जो है I think made in China है. ठीक है, मेरा एक दोस्त है शेरशाह. He buys Chinese these trucks every 2 years because उसका इंजन ढीला हो जाता है. So the bottom line is that do we want to spend that amount of money and change it every 2 years, or because the roads are rugged and will pass in other areas. So the question is, can these van will survive so many miles or not?
Yeah, we are really, Dr. Shahadi, we are looking into it. We have started this thing, and then we will see and we'll bring it to our committee and the council and how we're going to deal with that.
So
Thank you, Dr. Rana.
I just may answer. So why we chose these ambulances, because APPS UK, they have already been running this program for the last 4 years. So they have the same ambulances, and they helped us choose this one. But you have a good point. I mean, if they don't work, we may want to look at other ones too. Any other questions I can? Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Doctor.
Nadeem Qazi. It's an excellent program, but we discussed this in SMC meeting yesterday. There should be, can you hear me?
Yeah.
There should be a protocol, what kind of patient will be treated with this facility, because there's only a van with basic need for patients.
Yeah.
And make sure the cleanliness and all those protocols that we use here, we should have those protocols, and the partner owner should sign us with those protocols before we even.
Thank you, Dr. Qazi. Good point. Thank you. I will have Dr. Aisha Zafar, the chair of the Social Welfare Committee, to come and please give her a brief report. Yes, Dr. Suhail Siddiqui.
My name is Suhail Siddiqui. I'm from Southern California. Excellent program. We will support it with you when we get back to California.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Another mobile clinic added.
I have one point to make. On or around September 16th, 2017, I received a legal notice from a candidate of the time. I complained to the EC, I complained to the ethics committee, I complained to the election committee, I complained to everybody. The council had a meeting and they wanted an investigation. Nothing has happened, and I see the same name with an active lawsuit going. His name is again on the ballot. How can that happen?
Okay, we will answer that. We will take that question once this thing is this report is done, and then we have 2 more issues, and then we'll bring it back. Okay, Dr. Aisha Zafar. Dr. Aisha.
Assalamu alaikum ji. I am the chair of the Social Welfare Committee, and I wanted to present my report today. So I'm going to first talk about one of the major projects that was started last year. It's the APPNA cornea transplant program, which was started in April of last year. And since that time, we have raised $140,000 and 700 corneas have been sent to Pakistan. Each cornea costs $250. I do want to recognize the class of '85, and they were the ones who initially started the project. Over the past year, however, we have had many other donors, and Dr. Naeem Khan, I don't know if he's here, and the Khyber alumni has also been one of the other major contributors. So the corneas are actually obtained from USA. In the past, in Pakistan, the corneas were all coming from Sri Lanka, the quality of which has not been very good, but these ones go from here. Mostly the corneas cost $1,000, but over the year, we have been able to establish a relationship where just because of charity, the corneas are now being given to us for $200, and then the cost of transportation is $50 each. I think our biggest achievement was after a year of trying, we were finally able to get to the Balochistan province and started operating in Quetta at the LRBT hospital and the Bolan Medical College Hospital. These are just some of the pictures that I wanted to share with you. We do get a lot of young children. Some of the pictures here are from the Nishtar Hospital. APPNA TCF school, which is in Munirabad. So the village of Munirabad was started several years ago when we had, it was a flood. It was back in 2011. And we adopted this village. The unfortunate situation is that the government of Pakistan had actually gone to the village and told them that they will build 100 homes, but after a year had passed, nothing had happened. We built 120 homes there, and then the major issue there was the school. We worked with many other organizations, didn't turn out very successful. This TCF school was really built with the support of the Washington, D.C. chapter. APPNA gave certain funds, but most of the funds were actually provided by them. The cost of school is mentioned there. The maintenance every year is about $20,000. The school has now been completed. You can see some of the children there. This chapter has now promised that they're going to build a secondary school in the same area, and the funds again will be provided by TCF. So this is really historical because mostly TCF expects the donors to give the money, but because they went to the village, they were so impressed by the way the setup was done. And I'm hoping that they would build a third school there as well. The third water project has been started by the Liaquat alumni, and Dr. Majid and I has been coordinating them. I'm very, very grateful to this alumni because every year they raise anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000, and they have been installing both water wells as well as hand pumps. There are some pictures here. Dr. Sajid Chaudhry and Dr. Aslam and some of the other office bearers were there last year in December. The APPNA dialysis machine project actually was started because there were some alumni who wanted to donate to their alumni, but then at least we found out in Punjab was that the government is providing the dialysis machines to the bigger hospitals, but the smaller hospitals neither have these machines, neither they have the physicians or the dialysis technicians. So interestingly, this is Oja Safdar Hospital, who's a politician himself, started the hospital and the medical school, but they did not provide any facilities as such. This is again by the class of '85. 4 dialysis machines were given to this hospital, and I'm very grateful to Dr. Adeep Rizvi from SIUT. The company was giving us a dialysis machine for $14,000, and he was able to negotiate down to $9,500. These are some of the patients who are being dialyzed, and we are now sending dialysis technicians to SIUT in Karachi who will be trained there, and they will be helping with this. LRBTI camps, I want to recognize Nasir Chaudhry for that. So Nasir was the one who really introduced me to this organization. They do a phenomenal job. In the past, we were trying to do the eye camps on our own. So the cost initially was $1,800, but our camps have become so successful that the cost not only has gone up, the number of patients has gone up. The highest number of patients which was seen was in Jacobabad, which again, sadly, is one of the very well-known politicians who was the MNA there. There had never been an eye hospital. We had 1,000 patients. and LRB told me that it's never happened before. 500 of them needed surgery. So that was an expensive camp for us. The other camp where the same thing happened was in Balochistan, where 1,200 people came, and again, half of them needed surgery. These patients had never been seen by an ophthalmologist. So this is the first camp we had this year, which was, so this was the first camp we held this year, which was done in the village. It was done with collaboration of Kemkhana. The number of patients was, again, not that high because we have been having regular camps here every year. This is the Cleft Lip Muskan project. It's been coordinated with Dr. Shahid Sheikh. Again, the cost of surgery is $250, and it's basically being done, interestingly, in Quetta, where the surgeon does anywhere from 10 to 12 surgeries every month, and it's also being done in Faisalabad. This is just to wrap up. This is a project which has been, I'm very proud of it because it was started in 2011, and it costs $500 a month only. This is our dispensary. You can see how basic the dispensary is. This is a dispenser, a physician is there on a PRN basis. The number of patients has gradually increased. There's a lot of gastroenteritis, dehydration, which is seen. And I've never asked for funds, but I'll tell you one thing. Almost every month, someone will contact me and send $500 as a sadaqah. So please do think about this. This is our annual Ramzan food project. We will be starting it again. I already have donations for $4,000 for this. And this is done in Kanaghar in Karachi, where the food is provided free. And then food packages, which cost anywhere from $30 to $35. So please, when you do think about your upcoming Ramzan donations, think about that. This was a project started this year, SOS Village. These are orphans. We have 20 orphans sponsored there. The cost is $100 per kid. And I didn't, Naseem Shekhani, I'm going to give him credit for that. He introduced me to this gentleman. And I'll tell you, I think I've had over maybe 500 emails and so many phone calls. And I'm so impressed by the APPNA ladies who have so many clothes. But this is to recycle our fancy clothes. They will be sent out to Karachi, and they will be distributed in areas like Machar Colony. And this is basically being done free. We are sending the boxes to Atlanta, where he has a warehouse. He'll sort the clothes out. He'll take care of everything. And the containers will be sent free to Pakistan. His address is there.
Actually, let me just say, the line we chose was dress a girl as bride. Donate what you won't use. I think there is such an overwhelming response for our membership. Thank you very much, Aisha. You do a wonderful job. Your committee. This is what APPNA is all about: healthcare, education, advocacy, and philanthropy. Thank you so very much. All year round it will go on. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha Zafar. Dr. Arif Muslim, Conflict Resolution Committee.
Before the year started, my council members and members, APPNA Executive Committee had approved a conflict resolution committee to address the constitutional conflicts in the organization. This was done much before any conflict had come forward. In this committee, we had 4 past presidents of APPNA with absolute dignity and integrity. Also, our president-elect, Dr. Naseem Shekhani, who is responsible for our component societies. He is also part of the committee, and I will let Dr. Arif Muslim give his report. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. As the first thing is, please don't shoot the messenger. The Conflict Resolution Committee, as the President has just said, is an ad hoc committee, and which was recommended by the Executive Committee.
That's what I was confirming you. 2 mics.
Have the conflict resolution between insured institutions. There were 3 things. Originally we had in our membership, original membership was Dr. Suleiman and Dr. Rashid Paracha was included, but they both recused themselves because they were appointed to the Ethics and Grievance Committee. So our committee consisted of myself, Dr. Shabbir Safdar, Dr. Arif Toor, Dr. Saima Zafar, 4 past presidents of APPNA, and Dr. Naseem Shekhani, president-elect. We held 2 formal meetings and lot of informal meetings and conversations. All these minutes are with the APPNA central office, and all the meetings were recorded and are available to be reviewed by anybody, at the central office. We were given 3 tasks. One was about the lifetime membership definition, because there were some questions about the validity of life membership after somebody who retires or loses his license. According to the Constitution and bylaws, if somebody's license is revoked for anything, then they cease to be member. But otherwise, retirement was not clearly defined. Constitution was ambiguous. We did discuss this in our committee, and although we felt that once a life member, always a life member, but we passed it on to the membership committee and the cable. I got an email from the cable chair that they had agreed with us that they felt that once a life member, always a life member. But again, it's now with the membership committee, and they will come with their recommendations. The second task given to us was the Alliance Board of Trustee issue. Alliance president had complained about and had not agreed to the bylaws changes that was made recently. I spoke to the president of the Alliance and members of BOT and some other members. Some other members of our committee also did the same thing. After that, we reviewed all the bylaws which they had before and after, and we felt that our findings were the bylaws changes were requested by the Alliance Executive Council Committee, which is perfectly legal. The bylaws were created at their request. Instead of sending these revised bylaws to the EC, who would then take it to general body for approval, the new bylaws were sent directly to the general body as well as the EC together at the same time, and general body approved them. This is all from the minutes of their meetings. The committee noted that the method for change of bylaws is not clearly defined in the Alliance bylaws. However, these were the changes. These changes were made exactly the same way that they had done in the past. So we felt that in the absence of any clear definition, the precedence takes over. And if something was done in a way in the past, then that will have to be taken into consideration. But we feel that they really should take the ambiguity out, and maybe in future they should do that. But our feeling was that our committee unanimously recommended that bylaws changes should be considered valid. There's one more point. Then you can clap afterwards. The third one, which was the stickiest portion, was the South Texas chapter. The president of the South Texas chapter complained about being removed illegally by the BOT. The BOT of the STC chapter had questioned the life membership of the president and validity and legality of general body meeting held in December 3rd on 2017. Documents showed that the complainant, Naima Ijaz, president of the STC chapter, Naima Ijaz, my apologies, has been member of the chapter immediately intermittently for many years. She then became a life member of her chapter and APPNA in 2015. It was important to note that the current and in effect bylaws of the SCP chapter do not require state practicing license, although APPNA bylaws do. I'm talking about the bylaws of the STC chapter which were approved by the general body, the old bylaws, because the new bylaws which they had proposed, and according to our interpretation and reading, they had a new set of bylaws which are conforming to the APPNA bylaws. And those bylaws were presented but not approved by general body. So in essence, the old bylaws were still valid, and the new bylaws have not been approved. Okay. The bylaws also required proof of research job in healthcare field. Again, our bylaws say that either you should be a licensed physician, I'm talking about APPNA bylaw, or you could be involved in medical management and or research. The one provision which has been suggested but not approved was that the IRB approved research or whether it's other research, but the bylaws are ambiguous. And in the past, we have already, APPNA has always allowed the research, people in research field who may be physicians or may not be physicians, may not have a license, but they have been they are life members, and there are a lot of life members sitting here right now with them.
I want to correct something here.
I'm
okay,
sir.
Dr. Yaqub, let him finish the report and then you can come on the podium. Dr. Sheikh, please observe the decorum of the meeting. Please let him finish the report, then you can come and comment on that. Dr. Sheikh.
He did give the definition wrong in bylaws of chapter.
Okay, I will.
You have to be a practicing licensed physician.
Dr. Sheikh,
I'm having the bylaws at this point.
your point is noted.
He is giving the wrong information to the bylaws, so I have to.
Dr. Sheikh, your point is noted. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Muslim.
Thank you. Dr. Najma Ijaz provided proof of medical research at University of Texas, and therefore she qualified for APPNA membership.
Point about the research. Just proof for research is not the correct proof.
Dr. Yaqub Sheikh, when a committee report, Dr. Yaqub Sheikh, when a committee report is presented in a council meeting, let him finish, then you can come and argue or say, make your comment. Thank you. Dr. Arif Muslim, continue, please.
Based on these findings, the committee unanimously recommended that the complainant was and still is legitimate president of the STC. The committee members further noted that the email sent out alleging financial misconduct by the complainant without any documented proof are a form of harassment. The members of the committee condemned the act of harassment towards the president of the chapter, Dr. Najma Ijaz.
Please, everyone, please observe the decorum. Thank you very much. Dr. Yaqub Sheikh, you are, listen, can you hear me out? Can you hear me out? Dr. Sheikh, there is a decorum of this esteemed organization. Let's continue to have that and have a very civil discussion about whatever issues we have. We can resolve it right here. We are all the children of the same organization. So please give a respect. There is no cross talking here. When you have your chance, you come and talk. Thank you. Thank you.
I had detailed communication first by phone, and then I made a trip to Houston and on my own with the permission of the president, but APPNA had no expense involved in that. I want to make it clear. I went on my own with my own money and stayed on my own, and I met both the parties. I met Dr. Najma Ijaz and some other people. By the way, that was the first time I saw Dr. Najma Ijaz because I never met her or anybody in that there. So although I knew all the other people which I met with Dr. Dawood and Dr. Asif Riyaz, who was my class fellow, and some other people. So I went there and I met both of them, and basically took their viewpoints into consideration, and I then offered to, at that time, that the ideal situation might be that if there's a problem with the election, you can have re-election under the supervision of APPNA. One group agreed, the other group did not. Then there were back for discussion. Then I finally left and brought all this information and passed it on to my committee. The committee deliberated, and the decision was, as I mentioned up there. The committee meeting proceedings are recorded and are available, and the minutes of the meetings I had sent to the center. I would like to thank the committee members, Dr. Sood, Sabir Sadar, Rasim Shakhani, Saib Zafar, and all the special thanks to Dr. Zafar Hamid. And by the way, our council, Rebecca Boyd-Obarski, because at every step of the way, I was talking to her and basically presented all, and she did review almost all the data which was provided. So this is my full.
Thank you, Dr. Arif Muslim. I have I have Marina, please.
Yes,
You have 1 minute.
1 minute?
Yes.
Should I request you, please?
Please go ahead.
Can I make a motion to approve Dr. Muslim?
Is there anyone to second? Okay, just 1 second. Can you wait, Dr. Siddiqui? Dr. Meher?
Mehreen Latif,
Yes,
I'm the Chair Board of Trustees Alliance. Please refer to the Alliance Board of Trustees report of the spring 2018 in your folders. Basically, we appreciate Dr. Muslim, APPNA EC, BOT, and the Council for taking the time to listen to Alliance. I would like everybody to understand that Alliance, even though it's under the umbrella of APPNA, it is an independent organization. It has its own set of bylaws and constitution, which, all of us who are on the Board of Trustees, honor or not. We have served in capacities of past presidents in the past. So we highly, we are very vigilant of that. Alliance Board of Trustees was formed to rejuvenate Alliance. Unfortunately, this is not, the current situation of Alliance. So Alliance President is totally not in communication with Alliance BOT, and we are wanting to establish that communication, and we request APPNA not to, take one side or the other. Unfortunately, when Alliance BOT has repeatedly tried to establish contact with APPNA EC and yourself, Dr. Safarhadi, we've been told that this is under, the Alliance BOT is not valid, and it is
I did not say that.
Well,
Please.
at the time, we
Okay.
said that it
Go
was
ahead.
under conflict,
Go ahead.
and we should wait to do anything until it is approved.
Yeah.
But
Thank you very much.
We have been.
I will answer that one problem. Jabin. You have something.
My name is Jabin Bukhari. I am Chair of Board of Trustees, Alliance Board of Trustees, and also not the Chair. I'm sorry, Secretary.
Yes, please. Can you come close to the mic?
Secretary of the Board of Trustees.
Okay.
I'm a past president of Alliance in 2015 as well. Technically, there is no organizational structure at the moment in Alliance bylaws, and as you mentioned, Dr. Muslim, it is not very clear. And as all 5 past presidents of Alliance, we realized that this is a good opportunity for make this Board of Trustees to help Alliance to grow, because this is a very effective organization. Now, I actually thank you, Zafar, that you made that committee, ad hoc committee, and Dr. Arif Muslim, as he mentioned, that he reviewed everything. All the amendment has gone through a very clear process. It didn't happen in just one night. But just 1 minute. At the moment, we are in this situation that the current president is not recognizing us, and we cannot function. If you guys don't understand the importance and the hard work which we have been doing for many, many months, and we believe that there is something going on, that the APPNA should, direct this whole process to the Alliance. We are capable of handling our own problems. I don't think you guys should make any sides at this time. President should acknowledge the changes on the bylaws of Alliance, and also she should acknowledge the report of the committee, ethics and grievance committee, which was done, which was created by you.
Thank you very much.
It is a very, very.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Doctor, please have a seat. Dr. Nadeem Qazi is recognized.
just knew what is the difference between these two.
Thank you. I will just answer that because for the sake of the time, I really want to get this thing resolved today with you. Let me just answer that, Dr. Harun Durrani. Conflict Resolution Committee was formed as an ad hoc committee recommendation. Let today in the council be one. Resolve the issue which is our internal issue. When the people say that the chapters are independent and alumni are independent, I will tell you